Race fans, momentarily, we will have our national anthem, and we have a special guest here this evening to perform that national anthem for you. I'll introduce him to you in just a moment, but he is a North Carolina recording artist. Joining us again, he was here last season and sang the national anthem, and we're glad to have him back with us here this season at the Madhouse. I believe, if I recall correctly from last season, that he's also a big Tim Brown supporter. Is that right? Like we said, you're not apathetic. You're either booing folks or you're cheering them, and we appreciate you for being the most passionate fans in all of weekly racing. Thank you so much. And right now, I would like to introduce to you, as you stand, as you're able, please remove your caps and your hats for a rendition of the national anthem by North Carolina recording artist Zach Burek.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free in the home of the brave?
Zach Burek, ladies and gentlemen, with our national anthem. Give him a big hand. And what about the flyover to open the 2026 season? Be on the lookout. They're going to circle back around momentarily and give you a salute one more time. All right, the first event of the season is 40 laps for the Losses of John Barrow Sportsman Series. They qualified and then followed that up with a full field redraw. 21 cars in the starting lineup. This is how they'll roll out. Starting shotgun on the field after the redraw. He's in the Dairy Hunt or Dario Jerry Hunt Super Center, car number 23.
Folks, the Gladiators are entering the arena. Bowman Gray, opening night. But hey, let's have a little fun with a Madhouse Minute.
Let's go racing!
And your champion of 2025 is the number 31 car, Chase Robertson, title number 2. Your champion of 2025, Brandon Ward, Brian Sykes Jr. does it. He's the champion of the Street Stock Division at Bowman Gray in 2025. And the champion will be Brandon Lee Brendel. Scooter does it.
We got contact between Peter. Oh, my.
Will it be the north turn dodge? Yes, it is. Ward gets into him. Myers sideways. Here comes Brandon Ward to win the Hayes Jewelers 200. Brotherly love, brotherly photo finish. But he's the winner of the At South Farm Credit 150. The Rocket Tim Brown does it.
Number 03 of Sterling Clemens. Starting 13th in the Crosswinds Construction Mountain Pride Ticket Garage Doors of the Triad. Car number 1 from Clemens, it's Austin Jones. Rolling off 12. He was your fastest qualifier yesterday with a time of 14.960. In the Dario Jerry Hunt Super Center, car number 31 from Wahlberg, a two-time and defending sportsman champion is Chase Robertson. Starting 11th from Yadkinville, the ever-ready mixed concrete, Swift Springs, Gale Ford suspension, number 18 is Michael Adams.
The sportsman cars are on deck and it's time for a show. These composite body cars are a true throwback to a fan favorite era in NASCAR. With only 390 horsepower and a top speed near 70 miles per hour, these cars are heavy and require serious muscle to get around this flat quarter mile. But they produce some intense beating and banging. The sportsman division is ready to get down and dirty.
The law offices of John Barrow's Sportsman Division are on the racetrack and set for 40 laps of excitement as the fans pound the fences here around Bowman Gray Stadium. Let's give you the starting lineup, starting with your pole sitter, the number 37 car, the Harbor towing machine for the big man. It's Chris Massey. To the outside, the Privacy Fence Solutions 28, it's Nate Gregg.
The number 14 Velocity machine out of Lexington, North Carolina, it's Jim Shove starting third. Fourth on the grid out of Rural Hall, North Carolina. And the number 21 Harkey litigation machine, it's the Tiger, Tommy Neal.
Fifth will be the Smith Masonry, number 63 of Terry Smith. To the outside, it's the Zero Hero, the Cook's Flea Market machine for Kirk Sheets.
Rolling off in seventh, the number 55 of Ollie Ferguson, starting in the eighth position. The number 12 machine, the EME Concrete Specialist driver out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Donkey Strong, Justin Taylor.
Starting ninth will be the good guy, the number 38 Tough Shed race car, and it's Mitch Gales. To the outside, last year's Street Stock champion, moving on up in the Priority Auto One Auto Sales, number 99, it's Brian Sykes Jr.
Starting 11th from Yadkinville, North Carolina, driving the number 19 Gale Force car, it's Michael Adams. And starting 12th out of Wahlberg, North Carolina, the defending champion in the Dario number 31 car, it's Chase Robertson.
The number 1 lines up lucky 13th in the Crosswinds construction machine. That's Austin Jones. To the outside, the Rockstar, the 03, the Pendry Home Improvements car for Sterling Clemens.
Starting in 15th, the number 51 Wade Interiors machine out of King, North Carolina, it's Austin Taylor. And starting in 16th out of Oswego, New York, in the MH Cleaning Services number 24, the Furnace, AJ Burness.
Starting 17th tonight, the Specialized Graphics 98 For the master, Billy Gregg. To the outside, the Walkertown Mill 88. It's Chris Taylor.
Starting in 19th in the number 5 car out of Martinsville, Virginia, it's Jonathan Simachek. Starting in 20th out of Lexington, North Carolina. And the Squeaky Clean Express Home Pros machine, it's the number 15 of T. Dawson. The final car in this field of 21 machines belongs to the number 23 machine that will be piloted this evening by Ryan Robertson, racing out of Walberg, North Carolina for Dario.
Well, it's an impressive field of sportsman cars here tonight, 21 strong. We had 31 modifieds on the property, and this is it. Bowman Gray Stadium, the quarter-mile oval around a football field that has created legends. Turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4, I'm talking dead flat banking. It used to be off camber on one side of it, but this place has been open since 37, hosting NASCAR races since 49, the oldest, the longest running NASCAR weekly racing track in history. And you see a guy right there, the red, white, and green machine, the number 31 on your screen, who is trying to make history tonight. This is your champion last year, Chase Robertson, who's kind of moving maybe on up in some other divisions of racing, flirting in the tour-type modified ranks, but tonight he attempts to make history. He's won this race, the season-opening 40-lapper, 3 times in a row. Tonight, he goes for a record 4th in a row. Can he do it from the 12th starting spot? That is the question, James.
Ronnie Clifton did it from 2002 to 2004. No drivers ever won 4 of these season openers in a row. And Chase Robertson was really happy with his car. He told me earlier today, we have not touched a thing on the setup since last year. He's ready to go.
Shiny new paint schemes glisten under the beautiful lights of Bowman Gray. The energy is in the air. The fans rise to their feet. 2026 is green. Bowman Gray Stadium racing is underway.
Hank Gregg with a good jump on the outside. Takes the lead early. Tommy Neal trying to follow suit on the outside there and making good work of the high line. A little bit of rubber built up there, but Tiger Tommy Neal gets the elbows out and gets to second before we complete the first lap.
Jim Schoaf moving back to the 3rd position. Give 4th position to the guy that we love to see on the outside, but he's poking his nose to the inside. That is the Zero Hero, Kirk Sheets on the inside. Terry Smith kicking up a little dust behind them as they all scatter across this quarter-mile oval. Now Sheets works his way to the bottom of the 3rd place car, Jim Schoaf, in the north turn.
Gregg and Neal are gone. That leaves the battle for 3rd is the best one on the track. Sheets to the inside of Schoaf. And then the 12 machine of Justin Taylor will try and follow suit, try and close the hole before Schoaf can get back down, and does so neatly on the back straightaway. So Jim Schoaf now back to the 5th position, looking for a spot just in that inside line there.
And here comes Donkey Strong, the number 12 car, and we have a yellow flag. T. Dawson has spun in the north turn, bringing out your NC 811 org caution. The first one of the night, the first one of the year.
Our first call 811 before you did caution of 2026.
It rolls off the tongue better for you. But there's T. Dawson's car, the Squeaky Clean Express number 15.
New look for T. Dawson this year. Gone are the black and the light blue that we've seen over the past few years, and in its place a little bit more white and gray and almost a neon orange red. That's almost right down the middle. It's close there.
He's got a really cool like chicken on the hood of his car. It's a plumbing company, and it's a chicken holding a plumber. I think it's really cool, actually. Look at it right there. There it is. Cardinal Plumbing. I mean, have you ever seen a cardinal? It's not a chicken. It's a cardinal. Sorry, guys. I don't know my foul, I guess.
Birds, period.
Have you ever seen a bird holding a plunger? No. You never know what you're going to see at Bowman Gray.
Truly something I think that you would only see
Austin Jones stopped here on the front stretch. Austin Jones, the driver of the number 1 machine, a generational driver, 4 street stock wins to his credit, and trying to get his first sportsman division win. His grandfather, of course, the great Pee Wee Jones, who was a modified superstar back in the day here at Bowman Gray Stadium. And speaking of sponsors, he's got one of my favorite sponsors. He's got Crosswinds Construction on it, but he's got Mountain Fried Chicken.
Mountain Fried Chicken.
You know, if it's called Mountain Fried Chicken, it just sounds like it's really good chicken.
No, that is.
So there you go. That is chicken. It's not a mistake, and it's not Cardinal Fried Chicken. It is Mountain Fried Chicken.
I feel like you're just telling us that you're hungry and you just
I
didn't
am. I actually forgot to eat.
Well, Matthew.
I'm so excited about opening night. I've got my sun drop, though, from the Tim Brown camp.
Fair. Worth noting, too, and I noticed this while Austin Jones was stopped on the front straightaway, the first driver that I've seen in the pits to contest any action at Bowman Gray.
Oh, Sheets. Sheets went to the pits. Is that what you're talking about?
Kirk
Sheets just went to the pits. He was your, third place driver?
Mm-hmm. So Kirk Sheets to the pits, but to finish the point,
Yeah.
Austin Jones running a Dodge nose, which is new
Oh.
for 2026, as we see Kirk Sheets now right at the pit exit area, waiting for officials to let him back out onto the racetrack. But yes, new nose from 5-Star this year, debuted
cool.
at PRI in Indianapolis back in December, and ties in with Ram's return to the Craftsman Truck Series. And if anybody watched the Race for the Seat show that ran over the course of January and February, you would have seen a lot of late models carrying that nose, and it applies here in the Sportsman division to Austin Jones's machine as well.
Well, this race, we have the double file choose cone. And we don't have a cone this year. We've got something painted on the start-finish line. You see that little red thing right there? The drivers choose to the inside or to the outside, starting with the leader. So if the leader and second place guy and third place guy say chooses the bottom, the guy in fourth, he can make some hay and go to the top, which is risky here at Bowman Gray Stadium to put it to the top. The bottom is king at Bowman Gray Stadium. Now, the modern Chevrolet Pace vehicle dips off into the end zone. We go back to green. 5 laps on the board for the Sportsman division. Nate Gregg on the inside. The master there, Tommy Neal on the outside. He fires a little bit first, and he cuts down in front of Gregg. Tommy Neal to the lead.
Tommy Neal got a great restart. Gregg did not, and he's going to have to try and hold off Justin Taylor, who is already to his inside as they get to the north turn. Good battle there for the second spot. Good battle. Look at Brian Sykes Jr. working to the inside of Ollie Ferguson to try and get the 4th position away.
Justin Taylor to the inside. He has that preferred groove. They go single file behind them. That's Brian Sykes Jr. behind them. But this is the battle that everybody is watching here at Bowman Gray. Taylor gets the spot now coming out of turn number 2. Sykes peaks to the bottom, the street stock champion in that black and yellow number 99.
Also, don't look now, but Chase Robertson is already up into, I believe, 7th. Yes, working his way through the field pretty quickly for a driver who's got a lot of history potentially on his hands. No one's ever won this race 4 seasons in a row, but we have a call 811 before you dig. No, we don't, as a matter of fact. Quick little clip on the scoreboard there as we continue to watch the battle just on the edge of the top 5. This is Ollie Ferguson, Mitch Gales, and Chase Robertson that you see on screens. Brian Sykes Jr. just ahead in the neon and black 99.
Ollie Ferguson, the young Canadian kid, hanging on for dear life right now. That car doesn't seem to be handling well. It washes up, and now give the bottom to Mitch Gales. Gales, with that beautiful number 38, marches his way to the inside of Ferguson coming off the turn number 4, and Robertson is going to probably try to fill that gap behind Gales as well.
He can fill that gap. He's shoving Gales to the spot, just making sure that he gets room there. As one car is slow on the inside of the racetrack, that's going to check up everybody in the middle of the corner, and that almost caused a big issue for Robertson. It's the 37 machine that's slow here.
Chris Massey slow on the bottom, trying to stay out of the way, and now Terry Smith has spun his number 63 to bring out the caution yet again. Terry Smith, the number 63. I had a great conversation with Terry here. Let's look at this car right here, the masonry car, the Smith masonry car. Terry Smith, up until last year where he ran 4 races here, Pike, he wasn't in racing for 20 years. He's in his 60s now. Him and his brothers used to race at places like Caraway and Ace Speedway, and when his brother untimely passed away, they quit racing. Well, Terry unfortunately lost a child, and it got him thinking, I got to do something. So he decided to go back racing. His wife said, you know what, you should do it. So Terry Smith back racing and figuring out this tricky flat oval at Bowman Gray. A real good feel-good story in our pit area. Had a great 25-minute conversation with the guy. Like, you got to love the characters here and learning so much about these guys. They're such great human beings here at Bowman Gray.
It's the first great human interest story that we have this season. We'll have plenty of
yeah.
them. We've got a whole summer's worth to cover. Don't you worry. We'll have plenty of great stories like that. He's just one of the many characters, and I think worth emphasizing characters, maybe in the most literal of senses, that make Bowman Gray part of what makes it so special.
Hey, there's a lot of lore here. There's Terry Smith. We're going to take a quick break on Flow Racing. We're going to come back with lucky 13 laps on the scoreboard.
Welcome back to coverage of the season opening evening for the NASCAR Local Racing Series powered by O'Reilly Auto Parts from historic Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I'm James Pike. He's Matthew Dillner. We are covering the law offices of John Barrow Sportsman Division season opening 40-lap race. 13 laps on the board. Tiger Tommy Neal leads. Donkey Strong Justin Taylor and Nate Gregg, Brian Sykes Jr. and Mitch Gales round out the top 5 as it stands. Pretty fun and entertaining 13 laps to get our season going.
Well, it has been. It's been really fun, and it's really more fun. We're having fun in the booth here, which is in that tower right there. But look at this place. 16,000 plus fans gathering for a short track auto race in Winston-Salem, North Carolina on a very hot day, but it's starting to cool off nicely. And this is just a beloved tradition here opening day, and the fans flock here with their families to see this sort of short track excitement. And this is roll up your sleeves, working class hero short track racing if you've ever seen some.
That's about as good of a description as I think you're going to come up with, because I can't top that. So
Blind squirrel finds another.
I'm going to sit down. But worth noting, too, that we have double popsicle sticks from the flag stand, which means that we are 2 laps from the restart. Worth noting also that Tommy Neal is trying to tie Sportsman Division great Ronnie Clifton for second place on the all-time wins list. If he can win this race, it would be career win number 58 in the division of the Tigers' career.
Oh, man, Old Smooth might have to come back, defend that. 13 laps on the board right now as we get set for another restart here at Bowman Gray. And these side-by-side choose cone double file restarts are absolutely entertaining. Right now, Nate Gregg, the youngster on the outside, the second-generation driver. Oh, the green flag is out. And what a jump there by Tommy Neal.
Tommy Neal got a great jump there. He's going to clear everybody and then get turned by Justin Taylor into the grass before we even complete a lap. And the entire front stretch is on their feet. There are a lot of people that were happy to see Tommy Neal get spun. He's a bit of a polarizing character around here. There are a few people that are not so happy as well in the stands, but that's the crowd at Bowman Gray.
Look at them. They're on their feet right now. Some of them are so upset because their favorite driver spun into the grass. Others are reaching over and cheering. Tommy Neal is a polarizing figure, just like you said. Look at the crowd going nuts for the Tiger.
Yep, I see some people that are clapping and some people that are, shall we say, making hand gestures that we cannot show on broadcast.
Folks, it is officially bird season in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Indeed. So,
yeah, let's go take a look at this on our replay here from Flow Racing. Oh, yeah, you called it right. I thought he was a little free from the center off, but that was a bumper from Justin Taylor.
I think he was a little free, but he definitely got some help to finish that off.
Yes, he did. I mean, he was barely back on throttle right there, but Taylor did get into him there and spun him to the infield grass. Oh, boy.
If anything, I think Tommy deserves a lot of credit because there are a lot of drivers in that spot when they get turned, especially on corner exit, who would end up looping the car almost in the middle of the groove. And Tommy had enough sense to sort of let out of the throttle and sort of try and drift with the car and spin in the grass so that no one else ran into him as they came up onto the back straightaway. So
yeah, when you're getting spun like that, you have two choices. You're trying to save it, or you just turn it to the left and you let the car spin to the infield and no harm, no foul, except for track position. Speaking of track position, at the beginning of this race, we were talking about the youngster, Chase Robertson, your defending champion of the division, who started 13th. And if you see on the screen right there, up to 4th, the Dario 31, marching his way possibly towards history here at Bowman Gray.
I have been around Chase Robertson for a while. I went and chatted with him earlier this afternoon, and it was almost as if he was in a sort of Zen state, is the best way to describe it, where they hadn't touched the setup on the car at all. He didn't necessarily feel any pressure because he's not running the full season in 2026. This was just all about the win and the history. And instead of maybe having to try and defend something or keep everybody else from taking what you have, in his mind, tonight's race was all about just going to go get that history and take it from everybody else. He can be on the offensive because, in a sense, there's nothing to lose. There's Tommy Neal, who got turned there after leading a handful of laps to start this race. He's got a fast car, but again, he loses the track position after the yellow, so he'll have the entire field to climb through. But if there's a car and a driver that can climb through the field, Tiger Tommy Neal is one of the ones you would shortlist in this division.
You're looking at Randy Smith there on top of the scissor lift flag stand. We were told that with the catch fence up, we will have a permanent flag stand here at some point at Bowman Gray Stadium, but that's a temporary one right now. Now we're coming back to green, 14 laps on the book. Well, we only got one lap in that last time. Let's see if we could get a little bit more. Buddies, Nate Gregg, Brian Sykes Jr. to the throttle. Sykes cuts down on him, gives him the real estate he needs. The two youngsters drive clean off of turn number 2 down the back stretch to the north turn.
Chase Robertson making hay on that outside. He almost cleared Justin Taylor coming out of the back straightaway. He will clear Justin Taylor if he so chooses. He might have overdriven it a little bit there in the middle of the south turn, and then they make contact on the exit of turn 2, and there is a stack up, and Tommy Neal is around again. AJ Bernish and Chris Massey stop back there as well as the call 811 before you dig caution comes out once again.
2 for Tommy. He's gone around twice, and the fans are cheering and jeering once again. It's wild to watch here, and we see it every single week. Folks, if you're watching live on Flow Racing for the first time, you need to get your butt down here to Bowman Gray. What I call the 8th wonder of the world in auto racing. If there was an 8 wonders in auto racing, this is surely on it. But it's just an electric place that you just have to see in person. We love bringing it to you on Flow Racing, but there's nothing like being here in the bleachers, in the grandstands at this historic oval, and it's the stadium feel. It's unique. Nothing else in the sports culture, in my opinion, is like that, especially in this sport. But folks, Flow Racing, if you're tuning in for the first time, there's no timing and scoring. That's one thing that you will note. There's no ticker with that.
We'll take a look at what happened to Tommy Neal just at the bottom of the screen. Help again. Tommy Neal got a little bit of aid from the 51 machine of Austin Taylor. So that's both Taylor brothers that have gotten into Tommy Neal to start off the Sportsman Division season within the opening 16 laps.
And they're all pitted right next to each other behind the field house. So that should get a little spicy there. 2 for 2, Taylor versus Tommy Neal. Special welcome to all our viewers today watching the race on Flow Racing's 24/7 channel on Roku, Prime Video, Fubo. If you want to see this race, by the way, a replay, you can log on to Flow Racing and watch it. I know a lot of the racers do that. They tell me they go home and then they watch the replay of the race.
Neat to have our friends from the Flow 24/7 channel watching this as well. Always special to have them too.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to watch this on Flow, right? But man, if you don't have Flow and you're watching for the first time tonight on, say, Amazon, you're getting exposed to one of the most unique racetracks in the world. Oh, Chase Robertson has pulled to the infield grass. A plot turn here in this race. The racer that was coming up through the field looks like he has a left rear flat. He has some damage on the left rear of that machine. And Chase Robertson will have to bring his Dario 31 behind the field house to change that left rear. His march to the front and march to history might be over 16 laps into this race.
We'll see whether or not they can get that tire repaired and whether or not he can rejoin the field before the restart. That will be the question for the Robertson family and that team. They've got some time to change that tire, but they'll have to do it quickly. As it stands, that's going to leave Greg Sykes, Justin Taylor, Mitch Gales, and Michael Adams in the top 5 now.
Justin Mincy coming in from the top rope here with a pretty cool stack. As you see the driver on the outside of that front row there, that's Brian Sykes Jr. He won the championship in the street stock division last year. He's stepping up to the sportsman division, and Mincy says the last time that a street stock driver stepped up to the sportsman division and won the Sportsman 40, it was Derek Stoltz back in 2010. The Punisher car, a fan favorite at Bowman Gray. We'd love to see Stoltz bring it back. Roll it back. Come on, Stoltz. Get your butt out here to Bowman Gray again. We miss you out here.
So Brian Sykes Jr. trying to roll in shades of prime time, as he was known back in the day.
Yes. And so far, no. Oh, no, there he is. Chase Robertson rejoins the racetrack. Oh, he's going to have to do it all the way from the rear of this field as the lights are out and the modern Chevrolet Pace vehicle dips into the end zone. Two great friends, two young drivers on the front row. Side by side, they come to the green flag.
Off they go. Greg and Sykes, pretty even restart there on the front stretch. Taylor trying to clear Gales, just about got it, and then made it happen, so he'll go to third. Michael Adams down to fourth. How about Ryan Robertson, fifth car on the inside. Gales with nowhere to cut down. He's trying to find space on the inside, but it just does not exist right now.
And that is tough go for Mitch Gales, the 38 on the outside. Now he files his way to the bottom and thwarts the effort of Billy Gregg in the black and silver machine. Ryan Robertson now up to the 5th spot. And oh, Mitch Gales gets turned. Billy Gregg with contact with him. The yellow flag is out. Mitch Gales is spun at the entrance of the south turn.
There was some blocking going on around Mitch Gales, and I could tell he had let off the gas and got helped from behind. Couldn't catch who it was.
Billy Gregg was right on his bumper. The 38 filed down in front of him, and then that contact. Oh, boy. Let's take a look at it here on our Flow Racing replay. And there is Billy Gregg. You see him on his screen. The 38's coming down, and they just get like kind of locked together. I don't know. I mean, that's obviously contact. You see it right here. The 38's trying to go down low.
More hooking together on second glance, just looking at it, for sure. Sterling Plemons got a piece of this. Chase Robertson made a little bit of contact with one of the drivers a little bit further back. Austin Jones has gone back to the pits, and one other driver has gone back to the pits as well. Jones had part of his nose torn off in that incident, so he's back there to pull that nose piece off. Couldn't tell immediately who the second car was that came off the racetrack.
I know Austin Jones. I think it was Austin Jones because
he
got
one.
A little bit of that nose damage. There was another guy.
I want to say Kirk Sheets, I believe.
Yeah, the 0, I don't believe, is on the racetrack right now, so you are correct. Circulating this track 19 laps, almost halfway in this 40-lapper, and we're going to unfurl the yellow flag here and go back to green. I think we're going to get the one to go this time by from starter Randy Smith. 50-50 raffle tonight for the ladies, Bowman Gray Stadium Ladies Auxiliary, a great organization, nonprofit that does so much for the racers in this community. And the fans have always rallied around them. And one lucky fan tonight just won a lot of money for the 50-50. Look at the grandstands here. Just think of how much. I wonder how much it was tonight. It's probably a pretty good penny.
If you're picking nights to potentially win the 50-50, this is one of them. Ladies Auxiliary also responsible for helping to organize the banquet at the end of the year for Bowman Gray Stadium as Jimmy Amsher pulls the pace car off into its place in the north turn. And the restart has been waved off. Trouble for Michael Adams over on the exit of turn 2. That car is very slowly rolling and now coming to a stop. And so our restart is going to be delayed a little bit further as the Citrus A push vehicle is going to come over and assist Michael Adams and get Michael back rolling to pit road. We'll see where Adams ends up, but you see the push truck coming in.
Oh, yeah.
Giving Adams a little help, and off we go.
You know, I've got some friends in the grandstands here. I know you have some friends that are visiting today, and Steve Halpin, former announcer at Riverhead Raceway, he's here with his boys, and he actually just texted me. He says, it's a good night for racing, but it sure is a great night for the Madhouse. And that is so true, because if you were sitting in the bowl here at Bowman Gray Stadium and watching this, there's just that energy, that feel that just gets you pumped up. I'm up here in a booth, okay, with air conditioning. We don't have the popcorn and the little donuts and the S&P lemonade and all that good stuff by us yet. But the fan experience here is unlike anything. Hey, folks, look at the car that's in fourth now, choosing on the outside. He spun twice tonight, but up to fourth because of everything that just transpired on Flow Racing. And with the choose restarts, Tommy Neal is back in the picture, and he's starting alongside Justin Taylor, who sent him spinning earlier in this race.
This is going to be fun. That might be an understatement as the pace car pulls off into its place in the north turn. Green flag back out. Sykes and Billy Gregg get into each other there on that restart. Sykes knows he's ahead, but he's going to be stuck on that outside line, so Gregg's going to have the opportunity to claw back on the inside, but Sykes with a good drive down the back as Tommy Neal looks for somewhere to go, and it's just bottleneck between the two leaders.
Man, those two drivers up front are putting on a show. They are throwing their cars into each and every turn, leaning on each other around this quarter-mile oval, and the number 21 is right behind them, ready to pounce, but loving the battle he sees in this front windshield. Now give the lead to Nate Gregg. Here comes Tommy Neal to the bottom.
Tommy Neal to the inside, halfway through the season opener for the law offices of John Barrow Sportsman Division. Smoke from Sterling Clemens a little bit further back in this field as Gregg continues to lead. And cars sliding over in turn 3 as the yellow flag comes out once again.
There's a trail of fluid now pouring out, I believe, from behind the 03 machine. You'll see it on your track here as he drives into the corner. You'll see a little dark strip towards right there on the track. And Sterling Clemens, I believe, is dropping some oil. And you saw a bunch of race car drivers sliding in it. So we'll see if he exits the track or not. But hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take a quick break on Flow Racing. We'll be back. We are just past halfway in the Sportsman Division 40. Welcome back here to Bowman Gray Stadium. We are just past halfway in the first race of opening night. And let's show you what happened here, why we're under yellow. There is the Pendry Homes number 03, the rock star. Well, he's leaking. Car looked like it was losing some oil. I wouldn't say blowing up, can't tell. That could be an oil line, it could be something. But definitely some smoke from the back of the 03. Actually out of the front, you saw it there on that shot. Great shot by our new turn 3 camera.
Turn 3 as opposed to turn 4 as it's been in the past.
Yeah, Art Vanderlei down there, our brave cameraman on the fence down there with a great shot right there. But they are giving one to go signal, and now it's not the two friends on the front row. It's two fierce rivals, names maybe, the last names that would be. Some of the most aggressive drivers when you talk about the Neals and the Greggs. the youngster on the inside, Nate Gregg. He fires first. Sideways off of turn number 4. Tommy Neal on the outside. He's not going to have the spot. He's going to have to deal with Sykes on the inside. The 99 regains second.
Tommy Neal did not get a good restart there. That's going to allow Sykes to go to second. Taylor will try and work to the inside to third, but got loose off the corner. Ryan Robertson getting sideways down the straightaway, and so that gives Neal the opportunity to at least get back down to the inside lane as the battle continues to rage for fourth.
Oh, right there, Robertson doing a great job on the outside, the older brother of Chase Robertson. Sometimes he gets overlooked because of his younger brother's success here at the stadium, but Ryan Robertson, no slouch either in that inverse paint scheme of the Dario paint scheme. And Justin Taylor on the bottom working that number 12 off of the corner. What a battle. Hey, who says you can't race side by side at Bowman Gray Stadium, folks?
Well, they almost did for a second, and then Taylor got a little bit loose and made contact with Ryan Robertson. And
perfect racing right there. Look at this is textbook short track racing, grassroots, fender to fender. Ah, you gotta love it here at Bowman Gray Stadium.
A little stack up there in the middle of the corner. Robertson with the nose ahead on the outside of Taylor, but still no winner between the two. And T. Dawson has gone around in the south turn. That will bring out another call 811 before you dig caution.
Not a squeaky clean race for the driver of the squeaky clean 15. Now he's been involved in 2 caution flags for old T. Dawson. One of the good characters of our pit area. Sterling Plemons has rejoined the field in his 03 machine. Plemons with a Emerald Isle Realty joining that team this year, hoping for continued success, a 3-win season last year for the driver of the 03 as he regains, rejoins the field, tags the tail of the field. Choose cone is out. Greg chooses the inside. Sykes the outside. Tommy Neal to the inside. Ryan Robertson to the inside. Up jumps to number 12 to the 4th spot. Justin Cummins. Why did I say Justin Cummins? Oh my God, Taylor on the outside. Do I have the Kid Dynamite in my head?
That is a good question.
But Taylor to the outside, that's going to be interesting because of the contact that happened earlier between he and Tommy Neal. Tommy Neal's probably not going to give him any real estate here on this restart.
Green flag back out once again. Nate Gregg with a little bit of a better jump over Brian Sykes. And a good move there for Gregg to get clear. Here comes Sykes with a big drive there on the outside, trying to clear Tommy Neal. Just about is able to pull it off. There was not a lot of space. Not a lot of space, but enough there for Sykes to get the spot. And Tommy Neal is going to take extension and send Brian Sykes up the racetrack and make it a battle for second once again.
Tommy Neal shoehorning himself into the battle for the second spot. Oh, they are trading some paint and sheet metal here at Bowman Gray for the second spot as Nate Gregg walks away with this one right now. Give P2 to the Tiger, Tommy Neal.
Tommy Neal working Brian Sykes with a shove from Justin Taylor and another bump from Justin Taylor in the middle of the north turn. They are nose to tail amongst the top 5 for the most part as Gregg is trying to get away from everybody. Meanwhile, Chase Robertson is back up and into the 6th position, trying to work his way through the field here with 10 laps to go.
Right now, Nate Gregg does not want to see a caution. That's what he wants because he's got about an 8-car length lead on Tommy Neal, who's having a fit now again from Brian Sykes Jr. that uses the bumper gently to the backside of the number 21 car, sideways off the corner, and T. Dawson gets the hat trick.
T. Dawson around, another
tip of the hat trick for T. Dawson for bringing out it being a part of his 3rd caution tonight.
An NC811.org caution, a call 811 before you dig caution.
It is almost hockey playoffs, buddy.
It is.
So, you know, T. Dawson getting ready for hockey playoffs. And let's take a look. I think we could see on our turn 3 camera from Art Vanderlei here. Way up in the turn 2, you see him right there. Oh, might have gotten some help there. We'll see if the camera keeps on rolling here up who it was. It might have been. Well, now, hey, we did the choose cone. Nate Gregg to the inside, Tommy Neal to the outside, Sykes to the bottom, Billy Gregg to the outside. Nate Gregg, the leader's father, is in 4th position.
Here we go. 32 laps on the board, 8 to go. Nate Gregg with another good jump, really using all the rear tires as he could to get clear of Tommy Neal before they got to turn 1. Neal to second. Sykes getting some help from Taylor there on the inside as Tommy Neal gets shoved into the corner. Chris Massey is around on the back straightaway, and that will bring out another yellow flag.
Another yellow flag here at Bowman Gray. I'll tell you what, I want this thing to go green because the racing so far has been absolutely banana lands under green. Did you see Brian Sykes Jr. sideways through turns 1 and 2 on the bottom? That kid has a lot of raw talent, and there's no wonder why he did not. He won the Street Stock Championship. Let's look at the Hudson Auto Works replay right here on Flow Racing. And Massey goes around for a spin cycle. Was it T. Dawson that got into the back of him?
That would be the
maybe
one
that was
looks
Payback.
Like. Payback, maybe.
Maybe. Perhaps. Choose coming back out again. Now it's a father-son front row. Great to see the Greggs both battling and now battling up front again at Bowman Gray Stadium. This family, throughout its entire family tree, has had so much success here at Bowman Gray, and now father and son get to restart this race side by side. Gregg versus Gregg.
They were all fishtailing there coming out of turn 4 to try and get to the line for this restart. Nate clears Billy. Oh, Tommy Neal's going to get turned again by Brian Sykes Jr. and spun to the grass one more time as the fans either cheer their approval or disapproval, but no yellow flag. We stay green.
What a save by Tommy Neal. What a piece of driving right there. He was loose as heck coming out of turn number 2, and, well, Sykes just finished him off. Now the battle ensues. Son, father, then brother. It's a family affair here in the top 4 for the Sportsman 40.
I feel like that's a Justin Mincy stat waiting to happen. How many times have we had a father-son duo and a pair of brothers go 1, 2, 3, 4 in a race at Bowman Gray Stadium ever? 4 laps to go. 3 laps to go. Nate Gregg in control of it.
3 laps to go. And now brother Chase Robertson gets to the back bumper of Ryan Robertson, says, hey, you're holding me up. Move out of my way. I want to make history.
2 laps to go for Nate Gregg. Billy there about a car length back. The Robertsons just getting into it with each other and only pulling themselves further and further away from the Gregg family that paces this field 1-2 as Nate takes the white.
One more trip around the famed quarter-mile oval. Nate Gregg, he's been the center of controversy at times here at Bowman Gray Stadium and viral moments. But coming off of turn number 4, he will get his 11th career victory at the stadium. It's Gregg, the son, and the father finishing second. A beautiful moment at the Madhouse.
Neat celebration here with these two going door to door for a little acknowledgement at the stadium. The brothers Robertson just behind doing the same thing as Nate will now round his way to the front stretch and will be the first driver of the year to land in victory lane at the Madhouse. Going to have the opportunity to grab the iconic checkered flag. There's only one place where the name of the track is embroidered into the flag itself, and that is the Madhouse, Bowman Gray Stadium. 4th Sportsman win of Nate Gregg's career, and he ties Billy on the win list in this Division 2.
Ties old dad. Dad's going to be happy right there about that, though. And hey, Nate's going to give us some donuts here in the backstretch and give a little smoke show. You know what's cool about Nate Gregg and Brian Sykes Jr. and some of those kids in the Gregg camp, okay? These kids work on their own cars. They don't show up with a helmet bag and a fancy fire suit and sunglasses looking like they're posing for a hero card. You see that group of youngsters behind them? That's a hard-working bunch of young guys that have learned under the tutelage of Billy Gregg to work on race cars.
Fun fact, the last Gregg to win the 40-lapper for the Sportsman Division, Uncle Ricky, 35 years ago in 1991. So this is a big moment for the Gregg family.
Well, let's toss it down to Randy Pulliam. This is going to be a wild victory lane.
Congratulating his son.
Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Nate Gregg. Nate, congratulations. This is win number 4 in your Sportsman Series career. And to pick up the win on night number 1, it's got to be a great feeling.
Yes, sir, man. I can't thank the guys that stand behind me. First, I got to thank God. Then I got to thank Brad Smith at Velocity. Then I got to thank my family and, of course, all my crew, man. They've been busting their tails to get these things ready for the last 5 weeks, and it paid off today.
Well, I saw your post earlier today. You were expecting to do well, and you sure did take this up to the front. I know you got some sponsors you want to thank, though.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Of course, I got to thank Specialized Graphics for giving me a beautiful race car this year, Privacy Fence Solutions for sticking with us, Brad Smith at Velocita, Coger Plumbing, Sites Metal Rooming, Timpman Sons Tree Service, Race Car Engineering, and, man, I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, but I appreciate these guys more than anybody can.
Nate Gregg, ladies and gentlemen, he's going to make his way over here to the Carolina Wood Floors winners.
Well, a great feel-good family win here to open the night at Bowman Gray Stadium. But up next, as we celebrate Harold Day's birthday here in the booth, is the modified race. The Hayes Jewelers 200 is next on Flow Racing.
Race fans, it's time now. All right, race fans, it's time to introduce to you the winner of that diamond.
Let's talk about mods, baby. The modified division is the premier class at Bowman Gray, putting on a show at the Madhouse even before NASCAR was founded. These cars are a beast, hauling 700 horsepower and a top speed of 85 miles per hour, with a weight of around 2,300 pounds. They rip around the track with some of the highest weight-to-power ratio of any NASCAR-sanctioned race car. So now that you know your modified's the Madhouse, let's go racing.
We are back at Bowman Gray Stadium for a tradition unlike any other, the 51st running of the Hayes Jewelers 200. And this is the special pageantry that happens here at Bowman Gray Stadium. The drivers, the teams, push their race cars out onto this famed quarter-mile oval. You see Burt Myers, the 11-time champion, the number 1. There is Tim Brown bringing back the famous number 83 blue paint scheme, the Hayes Jewelers scheme. That was such a famous part of racing here at Bowman Gray Stadium. And that paint scheme has brought a lot of headlines and a lot of fanfare as that car is pushed out into turn number 1 here. This is a moment that the crews they eat this up. This is their time to shine. The gladiators are entering the arena.
so many people, I think, within the Bowman Gray community, and especially the crews, as you said, live for this moment in particular because they only push the cars around the stadium like this on this night. This is the one where they bring out all the stars and the stops before we get going with the Hayes Jewelers 200. I made the point last year that there aren't too many tracks in the NASCAR Local Racing Series powered by O'Reilly Auto Parts, as you see Burt Myers giving a shout-out to the fans there, that count by number their opening race of the year as if it is its own sort of thing unto itself, right? Sort of like we count the Daytona 500s in the Cup Series and things of that nature, right?
Yeah, I mean, you keep records here, and we all know it's, the fans that are really true to this place will know it's the 1,130th edition. It's just such a special thing here. And watching these cars get pushed out, you see now the front few cars coming to a rest. Tim Brown wiping his feet and checking the tackiness of this racetrack. Burt Myers, the number one, stuck on 103 wins. There is the return of Jonathan Brown. There is the number 75 machine being pushed out onto the racetrack. Lee Jeffries, the great driver, 32-time winner. But that number 22, great to see John Boy back. This is a guy that has such history here and was one of the top competitors in the modified ranks before he kind of left the scene. We've seen him doing things with his local church and being involved in the community since he's been racing. We've seen him working on Ryan Newman's race car in the modified ranks and testing that car as well. You see right in front of them right now another car stopping on the racetrack, Carson Lofton from the Cars Tour glory, and the rookie competitor from last year pushing Riley Neal's car onto the racetrack with that team. John Boy now climbing into his JC Enterprises number 22.
John Boy, a 30-time winner at the Madhouse, 25 of those in the Brad's Golf Cars Modified Division. As you get a good look at some of the drivers on the front row. The blue car brings back a lot of memories. I remember going to the old Winston Cup preview way back in the day at the Coliseum Complex, and amongst all the Cup cars, you would see that car parked at the very front of the annex as a reminder that, yes, the Cup Series season was starting soon, but also Bowman Gray would be kicking off soon enough. Here's Mike Speeney, who had a competitive season last year. Good battle with Burt Myers over the course of 2025.
Some controversy?
One of the better headlines of our season last year at the Madhouse.
Oh, yeah, that was that sure turned into a, let's just say it was spicy. That wasn't your typical salsa, that little confrontation between them. And it seemed like Burt Myers wanted it to be over, still does. And Mike Speeney liked to turn up the temperature a little bit and kind of lean into it a little more. Talking about the Myers family, you saw that Uncle and Slate Myers, Jason Myers and Slate Myers, and there is Randy Buntner's Muddy Creek Motorsports number 5 machine being rolled out onto the racetrack. One of the great veterans and one of the good friends of you and your family.
39th year of competition at the Madhouse. He holds the record for most starts all time in the modified division. A new gold trim around the orange number 5 this year, and also told me earlier today that there will be Iron Man themed T-shirts coming later this year.
I'm going to get one of those.
I'm about to say, I told him, if you want inspiration, just go to Terry Labonte's Iron Man car from Wilkesboro and make it work.
The window net is going up on some of these race cars, including Jordan Fleming's car. And let's look at this right here. The all-time leaders of the Hayes Jewelers 200, and that is lap leaders. Elgin Trailer and Justin Mincy. We talk about gold right here. But you see the men on top. The masters of the Madhouse are the masters for a reason. Burt Myers leading over 1,805 laps in this 200-lap season opener throughout its 51-year history. Lee Jeffries, one of the only other active driver, even in that top 10. Satch Worley, you look at Gary Myers, Burt Myers' dad, in the 9th position there as far as all-time laps led in the Hayes Jewelers 200, formerly known as the Winston 200. But the 200, a grand tradition here at the stadium.
Or even the Winston 199 as well. Yeah. As you look at that list, and that's just about a who's who
In the modified ranks
the
here
modifieds.
for sure, man. Look at Junior Miller in third. I mean, if you look at what's that monument? Mount Rushmore. If you look at the Mount Rushmore of Bowman Gray Stadium modified racing, you would argue right there that maybe Ralph Brinkley isn't on that list, but you've got Burt Myers, Tim Brown, Junior Miller.
A lot of that top 5 all in the top 5 and all-time modified wins here, too. So there is some correlation. It's almost like Indianapolis. The success that you find in this race usually carries to the rest of the season at the stadium. We'll take a break, and we'll be back with more action from the Madhouse as NASCAR Local Racing Series, powered by O'Reilly Auto Parts coverage, continues here on Flow.
Starting 25th in the Advantage Machinery Services, 3rd Street Financial KW Locksmith. Car number 3 for Winston-Salem is Andrew Hera. Rolling off 24th in the Choice Tire and Automotive, car number 71 from Mount Airy, the Mayberry Bullet of John Smith. Starting 23rd in the Greg Fletcher Trucking, Yadkin Valley Aviation. Car number 35 from Louisville to number 35 of Brandon Butner. Rolling off 22nd in the Taylor Auto Parts Marvel's Garage Doors, Perkins and Associates Health Insurance Specialist. Car number 16 from Mount Airy is the showstopper, Chris Fleming. Starting 21st in the AAR Roofing, Ward Performance, car number 12 from Winston-Salem is Dean Ward. Starting 20th in the Garage Doors of the Triad, Cherokee Underground, car number 55 from Wesley Chapel, Florida, it's Jeremy Gerstner. Starting 19th in the Wagner Appliance, Apex Steel Structures, the Triad Chimney Suite, car number 51 from King is the Snowman, Junior Snow.
Welcome back to coverage of the NASCAR Local Racing Series, powered by O'Reilly Auto Parts, here at the Madhouse, Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, as the cars are lined up, beginning to circle their way around the famed quarter mile for the 51st running of the Hayes Jewelers 200 to open up the season for the Brad's Golf Cars Modified Series. James Pike alongside Matthew Dillner here to bring you all the action from Winston-Salem and this famous racetrack, the first track sanctioned in the history of NASCAR, and so much history to be written still tonight.
Let's give you the starting lineup before we crank these bad boys up for the Hayes Jewelers 200. Starting on the pole, the North American Construction Machine, the number 57, it's Danny Bone. To the outside, the 105-time winner, the Hayes Jewelers number 83, it's the Rocket, Tim Brown.
Starting in the 3rd position, had a fabulous qualifying effort last night. In the number 14 Quality Roof Seamers Machine out of Lexington, North Carolina, it's Trey Hutchins. And starting in 4th out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, driving the 04 Kevin Says Yes.com machine for Crazy Kevin Powell, the defending champion of the Modifieds, Brandon Ward.
Starting 5th tonight in the CitraSafe number 1, the great Burt Myers from Walnut Cove, North Carolina. To the outside, just down the road at Sprague Street is where this driver grew up, a 28-time winner of the Black Sand Company, number 69. It's John Holloman the 4th.
Starting in 7th, the number 22 car out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, driving for Generator Supercenter, it's John Boy, Jonathan Brown. And starting in 8th in the 07 out of Walkertown, North Carolina, in the usedtrucksnc.com modified, it's the real deal, Riley Neal.
Starting in 9th, the Bryson Brothers Aerial Solutions 6 for Slate Myers. To the outside is Uncle, the number 4, 58-time winner, Jason Myers.
Starting at 11th, the 99 machine in Mount Airy, North Carolina for Taylor Auto Parts. Had a hairy qualifying session yesterday, made it up with a good run today. Jordan Fleming starting in 12th in the 82 machine, representing the Greensboro Grasshoppers. It's the rookie, Mason Lawson.
Starting in lucky 13, the number 44 Legendary Garage Machine for Daniel Beeson. To the outside, we talked about him, the Iron Man in the Muddy Creek Motorsports number 5, 22-time winner. It's Randy Butner.
Starting in 15th, the number 9 car out of King, North Carolina, racing for Steelman's Ace Hardware, Kyle Southern. And starting in 16th, in the BK Auto Sales number 64 out of Lexington, North Carolina, former Rookie of the Year here, Ethan Truel.
Deep in the field starts a 30-time winner, Folks, the Phoenix packaging number 75. It's Lee Jeffries to the outside. This guy is a bulldog, and that's what my brother nicknamed him last year. The QRC 10 for Mike Speeney.
Starting in 19th, the 51 Wagner Appliances car out of King, North Carolina, the Snowman Junior Show. Starting in 20th, the 55 out of Wesley Chapel, Florida, racing for Cherokee Underground. It's the Flying Floridian, Jeremy Gerstner.
Starting 21st tonight in the AAR roofing machine, the number 12, it's Dean Ward to the outside. Starting deep in the field tonight, a 19-time winner, the number 16 Taylor Auto Parts machine for Chris, the showstopper, Chris Fleming.
Starting in 23rd, the 35 out of Pottstown, North Carolina, racing for Carolina Triad Choice Realty, it's Brandon Butner. And starting in 24th, the 71 machine racing for Choice Tire and Automotive out of Mount Airy, North Carolina, it's the Mayberry Bullet, John Smith.
Now, bringing up the rear of the field, the last row of these 26 starters, the number 3 machine for Andrew Hara, and to the outside of him on the final row in the 00 machine, the Flying Taco, Danny Probst. Folks, you see these race cars here, open wheels, 600 horsepower. Folks, this is the beginnings of NASCAR. NASCAR's first division, the modifieds, the ground pounders. Let's toss it to the PA and get ready to crank these puppies up. Randy Pulliam, hit it.
And starting on the point, he was the fastest qualifier yesterday with a time of 13.626. He's driving the North American Construction S&R Motor Company PME Engines. Car number 57 from Mooresville is Danny Bone. That's your starting lineup for tonight's Hayes Jewelers 200. Right now, I'm going to send it up to the tower to my announce partner, Chris Carter.
Race fans, I am very proud to introduce to you the granddaughters of Mr. Bruce Hayes, Cassidy, Addison, and Peyton, for the most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engine!
The lights went out and the fans rose up. Their cell phones are lit all the way around the famed quarter mile. Historic Bowman Gray Stadium does it like nobody in the business. 26 ground-pounding NASCAR modifieds are set to entertain 16,000 fans circulating an oval around a football field. It's a tradition, the 51st annual Hayes Jewelers 200, and it's live on Flow Racing. I'm your host, Matthew Dillner, joined by James Pike here for this spectacle of speed in Winston-Salem.
This is the race of races on the Bowman Gray Stadium calendar. 200 laps, the longest race of the season for the drivers of the Brad's Golf Cars Modified Division, all chasing after the Crystal Trophy that goes to the one who ends the evening in Carolina Wood Floors Victory Lane. 50 times they've run it here, 51 times on the docket for us in just a few moments from the famed quarter mile just outside of downtown Winston-Salem, North Carolina. If you sit on the back straightaway here during the sunset at the early part of the program, you can actually see the skyline of downtown. That's how close we are to Center City, Winston-Salem. It only adds to the mystique, the prestige of winning at Bowman Gray.
Winning at Bowman Gray Stadium is one thing. Winning this race is another. And that driver right there, he did it last year. And he did so in dramatic fashion. A little tangle with Burt Myers. They regained their position. Then the north turn nudge from the front bumper of the 04 to the rear bumper of the number 1 who's pulling up behind him on the track right now. That gave Brandon Ward the glory of becoming last year's Hayes Jewelers 200 winner. Ward, 15 career modified wins now at Bowman Gray Stadium, and that win kicked off what would be his second ever championship season here at Bowman Gray Stadium. You want to talk about success here at Bowman Gray Stadium? To win a title here for a guy like Brandon Ward is absolutely impressive, because Tim Brown and Burt Myers have won 23 of the last 29 titles here. There's only a handful who have done it in this decade. 5 drivers have done championships here, have won championships here in this century. And Brandon Ward added his name last year to that list for the 2nd time.
Not too many people have been able to challenge that. You take a look at the drivers who have won championships here in the last 25 years.
Wow.
It's Myers, Brown, Miller, Ward, and Danny Bone.
Danny Bone, who sits on the pole, won it back in 2014 in an old race car that they had, a family race car. Now he sits on the point of the Hayes Jewelers 200, a race he has won once before. Can he become a 2-time winner of this race? Burt Myers at the top of the heap right there. 12 career championships, though, for the guy behind him, Tim Brown, okay? Tim Brown right now hasn't beaten wins, hasn't beaten titles. Burt Myers doesn't like that, but there it is, the Hayes Jewelers blue number 83 machine. Everybody with their cameras out getting pictures of the legendary paint scheme returning tonight for the driver from Tobaccoville, North Carolina.
Lights are off on the pace car. Next time by, we will begin the Brad's Golf Cars Modified season. In the 77th season of racing here at NASCAR's oldest weekly racetrack. And the headline division for NASCAR Local Racing Series powered by O'Reilly Auto Parts action here is set to tame the famed quarter mile for 200 laps. For the start of the Hayes Jewelers 200, it's Matthew Dillner.
The unmistakable rumble of modifieds. The crowd rising to their feet in anticipation. These are the drivers that live by the grace of God and 600 horsepower. The Hayes Jewelers 200 is green.
2 big game hunters at the front. Danny Bone, the long race specialist. Tim Brown trying to work to the outside. Brandon Ward immediately gets to the bottom and might have the opportunity to get to the inside of Tim Brown as well.
Danny Bone set sail. Here comes last year's champion, cloaked in white. To the bottom of the legendary blue 83 they go. Coming to the 2nd lap, sideways is the 04 off of turn number 4. Give P2 to Tim Brown, but wait, the 04 tries to peek under again.
Tim Brown with that good drive on the outside, then Ward, then John Holloman, then Trey Hutchins back to 5th. Burt Myers in the 6th spot. 7th belongs to John Boy, Jonathan Brown, Riley Neal, Slate Myers, Jason Myers, your top 10 early.
This is the longest race of the year for the modified division at Bowman Gray Stadium. So, what you may see here for a little while is a little single file racing. Maybe some bumper tag, drivers trying to feel out their cars here as the air pressures come up in these Hoosier tires. Here only 5 laps into the Hayes Jewelers 200.
Something to pay attention to, I think, over the course of this race. I talked to John Holloman, the 4th, earlier today, riding just on the edge of the screen in the 4th position as you watch the front 3 battle for the lead. And he made the point to me that the way the rubber builds up here, especially in this race, is going to be different than what you see throughout most of the season. These drivers run F15 Hoosier tires on their modifieds. It's one of the softest compounds that they run, as you see fans trying to take in the action on their phones. But Holloman made the point to me that instead of the track taking rubber, it sort of marbles up as we go through the 200, and that it gets sort of slippery and greasy, almost like a dirt track, if you would. And that allows for drivers to make the outside lane, especially later in the race, work a little bit better than what you would see in a 100 lapper or a 50 lapper or the twin 25s where you don't have that time to build it up. So single fire for now, but watch these drivers start bleeding into that second groove up top and making that work, especially in the second half of tonight's race.
Brennan Ward patiently looking to get to the bottom of your 2nd place competitor, Tim Brown, the series 12-time champion. You see John Boy right there, the 22, Jonathan Brown. Great to see him back in action here at the stadium. And then one of the young stars, 2 of the young stars right behind him, and Riley Neal in the white 07 and the black 6 of Slate Myers. But now back up front, Tim Brown, that beautiful sparkling like a diamond number 83, now has the 04 tap, tap, tap a little bit to the back bumper.
On the front bumper of Brandon Ward's car, it says "Go Crazy" with a K, an homage to teaming over Crazy Kevin Powell. And he's got a little bit crazy with the Nerf bar there because he's not sitting in third quietly. It's been tap, 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 tap pretty consistently to the rear bumper of Tim Brown's Hayes Jewelers Special over the last 10 laps or so. And it brings to my mind the thought of the classic short track racing rule. If you bump somebody once, you let them know you're there. You bump somebody twice, it's a final warning. 3 times, usually they get set up the racetrack. Brandon's got a little bit more patience, but wonder how thin his patience is wearing right now.
That's still really early in this race, so I don't know if he'll pull out that old Ted Christopher verbiage right there. That's when I hear that rule, I always think of TC's 3-tap rule there. Ted Christopher, one of the great NASCAR modified drivers of all time, who we lost a few years ago. But his nephew, Mike Christopher Jr., has been making headlines. But now, let's look at what we're seeing on your screen here on Flow Racing. And Danny Bone is in control of this one, with the field kind of tightening up a little bit behind him, with Tim Brown in second, Brandon Ward in third, and fourth position, John Holloman the fourth. Holloman, the pink and black car on your screen right there, grew up just down the road off of Sprague Street here. His father, a racer. This family really is a bunch of racers. Here comes Mike Speeney. Speaking of hard-nosed racers, the QRC car dips to the bottom to get by the 82, and here comes the number 64 of Ethan Truel filing in behind them. The Flying Floridian right behind them, the black number 55, making his way up from Wesley Chapel, Florida for this 200-lap affair. That is Jeremy Gerstner.
It's Mason Lawson, the rookie, in the red, black, and white machine, the 82 that was in the middle of that battle. You see Gerstner just behind, Truel there in front, and Mike Speeney starting to drive away from this group, the intention of trying to catch Randy Butner for a spot just outside the top 10.
And there is the New Jersey native, the driver of the S&R Motor Company, North American Construction 57. His grandfather, that's Danny Bone right there, the leader, the 57. His grandfather was a guy named Parker Bone, who was a stalwart in the New Jersey racing scene. And his father, Eddie Bone, who I watched capture many checkered flags from New Egypt Speedway in New Jersey, the Great Wall Stadium, who's opening its season here shortly as well. But Danny Bone making a name. He is one of the hottest modified drivers in this region right now. 2 wins on the Smart Modified Tour so far this season, including the last one at the Hickory 100 live on Flow Racing. But he comes here tonight trying to win his second Hayes Jewelers 200 and gets the pole. A little bit of trouble for the showstopper, the Taylor Auto Parts 16 of Chris Fleming.
Chris Fleming a little bit slow on the straightaway, wondering if there are further issues with Fleming's machine. That car not quite up to song compared to some of the other ones in this field as it comes down the straightaways. The corner speed is okay.
Yeah,
the straightaway
like
speed is just lacking. Yeah.
And that is the winner, of course, of the inaugural Madhouse Classic during the Cookout Clash weekend. He was really disappointed to not have that race and defend that title this year. But hey, he gets to be a champion, defending champion a whole nother year, as he gets put a lap down, and that car is not looking good. It is slowing on the front straightaway. Trouble for one of the favorites of this race, who was marred back in the field as far as after qualifying is concerned. Chris Fleming, always a driver who's one to contend here. He now brings the 16 behind the field house to the attention of his crew.
So Chris Fleming pulls his race car off the track for service. This is a look at Trey Hutchins, who put together a fabulous qualifying effort. He was the 6th car out in qualifying last night. They locked in the top 10 starting spots on Friday night in a extra qualifying session, as is custom for the 200. And Trey went out about 13, 14 cars before anybody else who qualified in the top 10 and put up the 3rd best time out of anyone. A superb lap to get him big time track position early on in this race.
What was really cool is that turned into kind of the feel good story, you know, much to your point there, of the night. I mean, going into the night, you wouldn't have expected a top 5 run for that young race car driver, but he really put down a heck of a lap, and he's got a good race going so far, is that driver. And he's, you know, a 3rd generation Bowman Gray Stadium racer. You know, his dad, Bobby Hutchins, is probably one of the more famous people in his family, of course, working for RCR for so many years and being a driver here as well. Here comes the number 55 of Jeremy Gerstner getting a spot by Randy Butner in the number 5.
Gerstner with the move as the Flying Flirty and sails on up through the leaderboard into the running order. Mason Lawson just behind Butner now. Let's get battle a little bit further back in the fields. Good fight there as well. Kyle Southern also in the mix.
Beautiful car, by the way.
Yeah.
The number 9 this year, the paint scheme on that puppy is absolutely gorgeous with Ace Hardware on board. And there is the 2 youngsters we were talking about. The white car there, the 07 with the purple numbers. And then the car behind him is Slate Myers. Those are 2 other generational talents here at Bowman Gray Stadium that came so close last year to winning for the first time. And the time that it looked like they were going to get it done, both of those young drivers got a little overzealous and wrecked each other, causing each other to not have a chance at that first win. When will that win come? You know, we've talked about it so many times throughout the history of this place. It's coming for those 2 talented racers.
You'd think sooner rather than later, for as much as they have grown as modified drivers over the course of the last handful of seasons. Now they're getting regular starts, but we have our first call, 811, before you dig caution, and it comes on lap 38 of 200.
Apparently a little bit of debris on the racetrack here at Bowman Gray Stadium. We're going to take a quick break here on Flow Racing and the Hayes Jewelers 200, and we'll be back 38 laps into this one.
Welcome back to coverage of the 51st running of the Hayes Jewelers 200 for the Brad's Golf Cars Modified Series here in the NASCAR Local Racing Series, powered by O'Reilly Auto Parts. James Pike here alongside Matthew Dillner as we are under our first yellow flag of the evening. 40 laps complete here at the Madhouse.
I just saw something interesting on the screen. Did you see Jason Myers and Lee Jeffries go behind the field house for tires? So this is a 200 lapper. You can take tires. Now you see those cars in the pit area. You know, this could be, whether it's a tire change or a stagger adjustment, we don't know, but this could be some strategy. If you short pit, you could gain that track position when the other drivers pit. You know, but right now Jason Myers has been struggling with the handling on that car, so, you know, trying to get that car handling right here in this next portion of this race. But there's going to be all sorts of, strategy in play.
So we showed this graphic earlier, and we showcased the drivers who have led the most laps in the Hayes Jewelers 200. We don't have the ability to update this live, but we would need to amend this graphic now because Danny Bone, by virtue of leading the first 41 laps this evening, has surpassed Satch Worley for 10th on this list with now 286 laps led here at Bowman Gray in the 200. So if we had a telestrator, this is where you take the yellow pen and you scratch out Satch Worley and you write in Danny Bone's name instead.
Yeah, and I know how much that probably means to Danny Bone. These statistics are a lot of fun. But these drivers actually like it. They tell us in the pit area. And anytime that you could put your name on top of a guy like Satch Worley, Rocky Mount, Virginia, like veteran, one of the great Southern modified racers of all time, that's a pretty good thing. Hey, there's Squeaky in turn 1 and 2, waving that flag. Great to see him back with the hard-working track crew here at Bowman Gray Stadium.
As the drivers will come to the 2 and choose. Our first opportunity to talk about who's going where on these restarts. Not too much wildness amongst this group, although worth noting that Burt Myers decided to take the outside lane, so he will restart in the 6th position.
I'm so used to the choose cone, so we know it's coming because they bring the cone out. But we got this painted thing now on the start-finish line. So I heard the cone might be coming back. I hope that's true. I love the cone.
We will see how this shakes out as Jimmy Absher pulls the pace car into the infield. Danny Bone will lead us to green with 44 laps on the board. We're back underway in the 51st Hayes Jewelers 200.
This is where you make your money, you make your spots, and look at the guy going to the bank right now for the 2nd position. It's Brandon Ward. He takes it.
For all that speed that Brandon Ward showed in that first run where he was all over the rear bumper of Tim Brown, now here's his opportunity. And I think this may change the game for Danny Bone as well, because Bone was able to sort of check up his pace a little bit while Brown and Ward were fighting. But if Ward decides to showcase the pace in that 04 machine, Danny Bone might have to push that modified a little bit harder than he'd like early on.
Some side-by-side racing back throughout the field right now as they file single file. Just behind this group right here, Mike Speeney is making hay on the outside, and a little contact with Jordan Fleming, who does a great save. There's Ethan Truhl, the number 64, on the outside of Daniel Beeson's blue number 44. Here comes Truhl charging hard. That young racer on the outside of Daniel Beeson's legendary garage, Petty, blue number 44. Right behind that is a great battle as well here, side by side between the number 55 of Gerstner and Kyle Southern. Gives Beeson the spot now, and behind them is Southern on the outside trying to get around Gerstner.
So Beeson will get the spot. Truhl there in second. Look at Gerstner to the inside of Southern. Mason Lawson has the opportunity to take the spot on the inside if he wants, but he can't get the drive off of the corner. And then got almost looked like he locked the brakes up a little bit there going into the north turn. So Southern will take the position.
Great job by Mason Lawson so far. It's hard to manage this race here. You got 26 cars out there strong here at Bowman Gray Stadium tonight, and he's doing a heck of a job out here in this Hayes Jewelers 200.
So Beeson and Ethan Truhl with contact there in the south turn. Truhl's got the better car in the center of the corner. Beeson's getting a little bit better drive off. That looks to me like that's just a change and a difference in the way that they approach those corners, difference in the lines that they're taking, where Beeson's a little bit harder on the binders on entry, but that allows him to get back to the gas off as Gerstner is going to go around off the front Nerf bar of Kyle Southern, and that brings out our second call, 811, before you did caution of the evening.
Gerstner getting his car righted here. 53 laps into this event.
Gerstner with the spin. Cars rolling behind Jimmy Absher's pace vehicle. Take a look at the Hudson Auto Works instant replay, and we'll show you what happened to Jeremy Gerstner. See, Kyle Southern got into it deep in the corner. Gerstner was not in the corner as deep, and that's just a classic north turn spin, much less nudge.
That was a nudge. I mean, he chrome horned him. Let's just be honest about it.
He got into him.
He got into him pretty good on that back I-beam of Gerstner. And hey, that's Bowman Gray Racing. That's, that's jet fighters in a gymnasium. A little bit of contact iron to iron right there is going to do it there. And now Gerstner has to tag the tail of the field. We have a driver pulling up to pit and go behind the field house, and that is Junior Snows, pink and black, number 51, as he pulls alongside your leader to go behind the field house. We'll see that on some of these caution flags right now. Guys going back to improve the handling on their car or get some fresh Hoosier rubber.
Speaking of, worth noting, we just had the opportunity here to get a good look here at the Flying Taco Denny Prost with a slightly different look.
Oh, I love that car.
It's gone from the blue and black to the gold and black.
And it's all hand-painted. That's what the best part about that car is. It's all hand-painted. No decals on that darn thing. And, you know, and then, of course, his famed fire suit, which, by the way, I'm sorry, folks, to report, a little bit of an armpit hole developing in the right armpit of his fire suit. But guess what? I think he's got a new one coming. Can't wait to see that. That is a character right there.
A tuxedo fire suit or something else? Who knows?
Tuxedo with the nudie suit, you know, Porter Wagner look with the wagon wheels and aliens and cows. Oh, there's Jason Myers.
Jason Myers wanted to provide an update. We saw a few cars go into the pits on that first caution on lap 37. Jason Myers took right side tires. Lee Jeffries and Randy Butner took adjustments on their car, made adjustments to the track bar. So those two in just to try and fix the handling. Right tires for Jason Myers. I talked to Randy earlier today. He said that they were just miserable. They were incredibly loose on race tires, and so they were just trying to find the handle on their car as best as they could.
That could be a strategy play, too,
right,
dude.
Right.
Think about that. When those guys go in, Pike, track position.
Track position later on in this if you can find the handle. So that absolutely, I think, comes into play. But I know for Randy, they were struggling in that first run, and I think he was more than happy to see the yellow just to try and get the track bar adjustments that he needed to get that car to handle the way that he wanted. And for Myers, yes, it's more of a track position play because you don't have to come in later for tires, but then you have to defend the positions from the front. So that could get tricky. Who knows?
I'll tell you what, let's look right now on the scoreboard because we are 57 laps into this as we double them up right now and do the choose cone. It's hard to tell when the choose cone's coming out. I don't see him going out there, but to the outside goes Brandon Ward in second with Danny Bone, your leader. Third place is Tim Brown, John Holloman the fourth in fourth. Burt Myers will line up on the inside of this with John Boyd, Jonathan Brown to the outside in the sixth spot. Trey Hutchins on the inside of the next row with the 07 of Riley Neal, then Slate Myers, Mike Speeney, Jordan Fleming, Jonathan Beeson. Coming back to the green, 58 laps on the scoreboard, double file, as Ben Dodge would say, double file, make you smile.
Here we go. Green flag back out. Denny Bone with a decent jump. Same for Brandon Ward. Tim Brown with a great drive on the inside to try and get underneath Ward. Burt Myers could not hang with John Holloman the fourth, so he'll slide back to the fifth position. But Brown now starting to flex his muscle as Brandon Ward is trapped on the outside line.
Loving watching Brandon Ward on the outside, but man, John Boyd, Jonathan Brown, that second white car on the outside is charging hard. He gets to the inside. Now a crash on the back straightaway. Jordan Fleming goes around. He's in the wall. Kyle Southern, the number 5 of Butner, and Lee Jeffries are in the grass. Yellow flag is out of Bowman Gray.
Big contact there. Jordan Fleming is stuck up against the fence, and the right front tire looks like it has some suspension damage. Safety crews attending there. Lee Jeffries coming right down to pit road.
And Jordan Fleming, that left side has a lot of damage there. Andrew Hara with some damage in that number 3 car right there. Good spot there, Pike.
Flat left rear tire. There we are. Jordan Fleming has still not been able to drive that car away from its place, sort of parked up along the wall right by turn 3. Worth noting, too, that just with the way the walls jut out, that you lose a little bit of space in the entry to 3 right where Fleming ended up parked. We'll take a look here on our Hudson Auto Works just a replay, and there was contact further back there.
Oh.
It almost looked like something just broke on the 99.
I don't know. It's hard to tell.
You don't spin that way middle of the straightaway normally.
No, definitely not. A little bit of contact possibly there as well. Hard to tell. I know Jordan Fleming is not happy, though. Jordan Fleming is cutting across the grass right now and going to pit road? No. He's going to rejoin the field. So, I wonder what happened there.
Lee Jeffries is already back out on the racetrack after coming down pit road under this yellow.
It's never a good feeling if there was contact there. I can't assume there was. But if there is contact and you're spinning the reverse way, not spinning to the left, spinning to the right, drivers, that's just not a good feeling.
Well, keep an eye on that right front of Fleming's machine. Junior Snow going into the pits for service. Another car went behind the wall as well. Didn't immediately catch who it was.
Well, let's take a quick break here on Flow Racing. We'll be back 62 laps into the Hayes Jewelers 200. Welcome back to Flow Racing's broadcast here of the Hayes Jewelers 200 at historic Bowman Gray Stadium. 77 seasons of racing here at the famed quarter mile, and there's a reason that 16,000 plus strong make their way through the gates here to nestle themselves around a football field that hosts auto racing. There's nothing like it in the world.
Stands are always packed on this night. Crowds always are great on this night because, again, think about it. These fans had not had racing at the Madhouse since August of last year. In a local sense, there was the Madhouse Classic that was scheduled to run in advance of the Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium that Ryan Preece ultimately claimed on a rainy and sleety and haily Wednesday night here.
Oh, look at that. What is, folks, what is that? What is that sign, Pike, on the top? I saw apple cider. Oh, could it be apple cider donuts? Little
Donuts.
I'm kind of craving them. I've been craving them all.
You've been hungry
season.
all evening.
I have been. What is that right there? That is like, is Zach Taylor, who drives here, races here at Bowman Gray Stadium, who owns that donut stand. That is an interesting little wheel there. I don't know what that is. It's showing donuts being made. That's pretty snazzy right there. Little technology.
Little Donuts Racing hoodie there as well.
God, Little Donuts are everywhere here. You know, people will spike on me for talking about them too much, but I mean, look, it's great donuts, and look at that. You're seeing race cars at the donut stand. You gotta love it.
I also love how the way that camera shot frames it sits right under one of the wrought iron arches that create entryways into every section here at Bowman Gray Stadium. Those are original, by the way. They were constructed when this stadium was built in the late 1930s as a WPA project as a part of FDR's New Deal. So this stadium was built to revitalize the economy in Winston-Salem after the Great Depression.
Still to this day.
And I'm about to say, if you want to talk about long-term investments paying off big time, this is certainly one of those in this city that ranks right at the top of the list.
And they've made investments here. You look at that concession stand, just reconstructed a few years ago. The bathrooms here. You know, growing up, we would go to racetracks, and there's a trough, okay, at some racetracks. It's pretty archaic, okay. This racetrack, when you bring your family here, you can rest assured you're going to get a good, nice, clean environment, a good place to sit, great sight lines, some good food, great options around this place right here at Bowman Gray Stadium, and it's like nothing ever. And that's why we always have a lot of children in the grandstands here at Bowman Gray Stadium, and that's what feeds the future of auto racing from the bottom to the top.
Also very easy to get to as well. You're right off of Business 40 and Highway 52, one exit away. And you're
Here's
maybe
the
about
choose
a mile off the interstate at best.
That guy's shirtless. Choose cone, bone to the bottom. The 83, hey, he was hot. It was hot earlier today. He probably forgot his shirt, you know. Gotta love the choose right here. Brandon Ward goes to the bottom, Holloman to the top. Your mom's gonna love that one, Pike. She's watching, and she loves when we say something a little off.
You will see plenty text from Marjorie over the course of the year.
Speaking of pudding times two, Puddin' Swisher probably tuning in tonight.
Right.
From Kernersville. Our buddy Puddin' Swisher, modified legend. We love you, Puddin'. Well, whether you're pudding or whether you're just sitting in the stands here or watching live on Flow Racing, we're going back to green. 67 laps into the Hayes Jewelers 200. Now Brown rockets to the outside, putting on a challenge on the outside of Danny Bone. Oh, look at the charge by the blue 83.
Brown rocketing to the outside is an interesting one because the rocket is stuck on the outside, and he gives a shot to Danny Bone in the middle of the corner. That was a big one there that Danny Bone had to take and survive, but survive he did, and he hangs on to the race lead. Burt Myers is now up into the third position, and people around the grandstands are starting to rise and realize that the ace has climbed up into the top three for the first time tonight.
Mike Spini right now is also on the march towards the front of the field. He's hanging on the outside of John Boyd. Jonathan Brown further back. Brown gets the spot. Now we're single file around the quarter mile. Danny Bone getting his breath back from that near moment there of sideways when Tim Brown got into his back bumper. But now Bone leads him. Oh, Jeremy Gershner has spun. Lee Jeffries is also spun in the north turn, bringing the yellow out again.
Jeffries is the one stuck over there. Gerstner did a 360 and got spun. There is right rear damage to Gerstner's machine. So we'll see what happened to Lee Jeffries. Maybe a little bit, no. Just I thought there might have been some damage to the cowl of Jeffries' machine, but just the way the shadows play off here with the lighting. But Gerstner's machine, you can kind of see it just at the back corner. Little crinkle on the right rear, and as he comes around, especially when he goes into turn one, you'll get a better shot at the damage on Gerstner's machine.
Yeah, the rear of that machine, the right side. Gerstner, a landscaper by trade, works his butt off, sweating all week, cutting lawns, so he can race on the weekends. Danny Bone, the leader, the next double file restart. I'll tell you what, when we go yellow here, usually a lot of times you're like, another yellow. Well, Bowman Gray, it's kind of like, another yellow, and then you're like, oh, wait. They're going to go side by side for the restart here. And let me tell you something, in these modifieds, it is hard to be on the outside and fire these 600-pound, these 600 horsepower rocket ships to the green flag and get to grab the gear too. It is not easy, and it is hairy here off of turn number 4 to get those restarts. Lee Jeffries will bring the 75 behind the field house, and we will take a quick break on Flow Racing and come back 75 laps into the Hayes Jewelers 200.
Welcome back to coverage of the NASCAR Local Racing Series powered by O'Reilly Auto Parts here at Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. This is the 51st running of the Hayes Jeweler 200, the traditional season opener for the Brad's Golf Cars Modified Series. You see on our speed shot over by the entrance to turn 3, the north turn, Ethan Truhl getting some help from the Citrus A push truck to get moving once again. We are under yellow for an incident involving Lee Jeffries and Jeremy Gerstner.
Here's the Koger Plumbing, number 44. He's made the screen a few times tonight in some great battles, and that's Daniel Beeson. Got to apologize to Daniel. I was hanging out with him earlier today. I have a habit of calling him Jonathan Beeson. You know, Beeson season, if you're a midget racing fan, of course, the Chili Bowl. We saw Beeson season the Chili Bowl was fun this year. Tulsa Shootout. But, yeah, this is a different Beeson. This is Daniel Beeson. I always say Jonathan, but hey, Mighty Mouse right there on the hood of the number 44, the legendary garage machine. And you know what was really cool? You saw Koger Plumbing on the back of that car. He wasn't just busy working on his car, Daniel. He was turning the wrenches and making crew chief advice for Zachary Koger, who we're going to see later on in the street stock division in the pit area all day yesterday, working with that street stock driver and his sponsor. Great to see the symmetry between competitors in all the divisions here at Bowman Gray. Tip of the cap, not only working behind the wheel, but working as a crew member. Coming to the choose cone right now, Danny Bone will, of course, choose the inside. Tim Brown takes it to the top once again. Burt Myers will go low. Holloman goes high. The 04 low. Jonathan Brown goes to the outside. Sweeney to the inside. Basically a little deja vu all over again.
A lot of the same players up at the front of the field. How this restart shakes out will be intriguing. Tim Brown got a better restart, I think, last time out than he had up until that point in the evening. So can he do that again here with 78 laps on the board? Maybe try and take the lead away from Danny Bowman for the first time tonight. Pace car pulls off. Danny Bowman in control. Green flag back out. Tim Brown went early. Is that going to stand? No, it will not. They will call that restart back.
That was a little sketchy, too, because the drivers stacked up behind them and almost wrecked. Okay, you're trail braking there. You're ready to hit the throttle. The guy in front of you isn't going. You're getting pushed from the rear. Now we will re-rack them, restack them, and go green flag here in the north turn again. Bone on the inside. The cat and mouse games might be at play here. Brown trying to time it on the outside. The leader fires first. Green flag is out. Now the 83 will try to mount a charge in the outside. If he does not, he's got to try to get to the bottom, but Burt Myers in that famed orange bumper is there.
Tim Brown trying to get in front of Burt Myers to get down to the inside. He's absolutely got the spot in second. Burt Myers to third. Holloman the fourth. In fourth, Brandon Ward looking to his inside to try and get the fifth spot away. John Boy Brown to sixth. Speedy seventh. Maybe sixth still. Good big drive there for Speedy to try and get to the inside.
I'll tell you what, Speedy just absolutely said, don't be silly, just send it to the bottom there underneath John Boy. John Boy now washing up the racetrack, hanging on to that spot. Great drive by the driver of the number 22 JC Enterprises machine.
Continuing to work their way around Bowman Gray. Danny Bones opened it up over Tim Brown once again. A little bit of a gap there between those two.
That PSR car of the number 22 is just really going strong there. It's great to see Jonathan Brown, such a talent back here at Bowman Gray Stadium. A guy that, you know, works on trees. You know, that's his livelihood, but does so much in his local community with some different camps and different things with his local churches. Just really matured into an incredible human being. Great to see him back here, though, at the Madhouse, where he developed quite a character over the years. And now he is back, and he could be one of the, if he raced here every week, he'd be a title contender.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. I think the talent's been there, right? It's not something, one of those things where we've seen him race long enough to where you watch him and you know. It's one of those handful of drivers where it's like, okay, I see you and I can just watch you in a practice session and be like, all right, yeah, you'll be there come August. We'll see you come Labor Day weekend. When we get to the 150, you'll have a shot.
Well, you know what we've seen before at Bowman Gray Stadium? We've seen Danny Bone up front, winner of the 22 version of this race. But right behind him is a little familiarity. How about this? Seeing the blue 83 and Burt Myers together on the track again. Oh, that's hitting us in the feels here, right here. All you nostalgia people seeing that 83 and the 1 running neck and neck.
Tim Brown, Blue Haze Jewelers special with the red interior. Burt Myers in the orange and black. Their fans dotted all throughout this place. You can be the greatest hero in the world to one section and then go one section over at Bowman Gray and become the greatest villain the world has ever seen. That is the level of passion that the fans have here as Mason Lawson has slowed on the front straightaway and will bring out another call 811 before you dig caution. Tough break there for the rookie.
Mason Lawson, we were talking about him having one heck of a race, but a little trouble for that driver there, the Harper, number 82.
The black, white, and red 82 now catching up to the back of the field just behind Kyle Southern in the 9 machine. As this field will get resorted here, they're going to take the opportunity to reline everything up, I think.
As we do this CitraSafe Cleaners track cleanup, let's take a little break on Flow Racing. Here with Danny Bone, your leader, almost halfway in the Hayes Jewelers 200. Saturday's all right for some racing here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and the fans enjoying walking around the Midway here, socializing here in the Camel City, buying some souvenirs and eating some donuts and some hamburgers and chicken sandos. The yellow flag is out here.
Chicken sandos?
Yeah, man, sando. You never had a sando?
I've never heard that word in my life.
You laughed at me for saying nappy yesterday because there's a difference between a nap and a nappy. A nappy's a smaller nap.
But at least
sometimes you could have a sando and a nappy.
I've heard a nappy before.
Yeah, man.
New one.
It's okay. It's a sando.
Our language might not be particularly intense, but the drivers are going to ratchet up the intensity out here on the racetrack shortly. And I think as we approach halfway here, we are 6 laps away from the halfway point in this 51st Hayes Jewelers 200. So I think it's a good time to ask the question. While we have a breather under yellows, we can look at some of the fans having a nap or a nappy.
Yeah,
I'm not sure which.
That kid's not, I don't know. It looks like he's going to have a full-on nap.
As we have Randy Butler going into the pits in one other car as well, when do you turn out the intensity as a driver, especially if you're a Tim Brown, a Burt Myers, a John Holloman, anybody running in the top 5? When do you push the issue?
I don't know, because right now I don't think you push it, because I think everybody's going to probably go get tires. 2 years ago, I think it was, we saw we really didn't see guys have the need to get tires because the tires were so hard. Last year that changed a little because Brandon Ward came in and got 4 tires last year, and that was the difference maker, he said, and his team said, for their win. So I think we might see some monkey see, monkey do, and a little bit of a trend to going to 4 fresh rubbers for some of the drivers that might take it behind the field house. And we haven't seen anybody in that lead, really top 15 cars or so, maybe about up to 12th position, Jason Myers or so, come in for fresh rubber.
A few drivers popping in for service, taking advantage of things.
13th place unofficially right now would be Jason Myers, and he is the first car with fresh rubber. The driver of that black number 4 you see on your screen right there, 3rd generation driver, 58-time winner here, 42 in the modified ranks for one of the great families of Bowman Gray Racing. Their family sitting just below us right now, below the tower, where they've always sat for generations.
But that's a classic tale, I think, of life here, right?
That good picture that was in the Winston-Salem Journal back in the day.
Yeah.
Of Billy and Bobby's wives and everybody just standing there and sitting in that section right below the field house here towards the left. I think we're going to choose this time by, and yes, we do.
Choose and halfway, I think, there, right? Or close enough? Close.
97.
Close.
Interesting note, they moved the restart zone a little bit here. Okay, the restart zone used to be a little bit further through turn 4. Now they have moved it back further into the north turn, so take note of that. The cars are more in rotation when they're hitting the green. You see it on your screen there, that line, that orange line in the white paint where the RE banner is. The yellow flag goes back again. So maybe we could get a good look at that right now. You see them driving by. Look for the orange stripe on the outside by the Racing Electronics banner. And then you see where the official is right there in the cone. That is kind of the restart box there. The leader has to fire first, and that is the red and black North American construction machine of Danny Bone. That restart 2 restarts ago, we kind of saw Tim Brown fire first. So there's a little cat and mouse game. Brown, his job on the outside pike is to try to time that. And if he just times it right, he's got a chance. Coming to the green, nearing the halfway mark of the Hayes Jewelers 200. Great to see Bruce Hayes and his entire family here, longtime supporters. The Lexington, North Carolina jewelry store and their cars on the outside as the green flag comes back out. Side by side, they dance into the south turn. Losing traction on the outside is the 83. Now, side by side, the masters of the Madhouse, the one of Myers, into the outside, the blue 83. We have a spinner. Danny Probst has spun. The flying taco is around in the cilantro.
I see what you did there.
I had cilantro for lunch.
So you're not, I would say, another evidence point as to your hunger.
I know. Well, it's the flying taco. Yesterday he had rear end problems during practice, and he said that it was salsa that leaked out of his rear end. So this isn't all us. He's into it, too.
Here's our Hudson Auto Works replay. Contact there between Probst and Junior Snow or Kyle Southern.
Like Kyle Southern, yep.
One of those two, somewhere in that ballpark.
That's such a beautiful race car, that gold. I love gold. You don't see many gold race cars. I'd love it if he actually, because I love how he chromes out everything. This is a rare instance where I think gold wheels would really work really good.
That is a fair point that you make there. Very, very fair point.
Smoky Unique with a gold and black car. That's a good point.
I'm about to say that. That's where my brain went initially.
A lot of great upcoming events, of course, for you. Next week, Jeff Bunton will be here. You'll be off in Cars Tour land. The Twin 25s for the Modifieds, the 100-lapper, the first one of the season. Folks, you got to be here for the Demo Derby on May 16th, the Sportsman 100. Street Stock's big one there, the 50-lapper on May 9th. All Bowman Gray races are streamed live on Flow Racing. If you can't make it here to the Madhouse to be one of the Madhouse maniacs, you can watch from your couch. I'm just telling you, I'd rather watch it here in person than listen to me. That's for sure. And I'm sure some people agree. Mm-hmm. Right? Let's hear you. Come on.
Meanwhile, in the greater NASCAR world, a few very anticipated races, I think, on that calendar. The Whelen Modified Tour heading to Oxford Plains May the 2nd. And then we have ARCA Night in America. ARCA Menards East action for the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. ARCA Menards West heading to Shasta. Modifieds heading to Seekonk in Massachusetts. Colorado National on tap for West Racing in the ARCA Menards Series. And then I'm not even going to finish that.
Oh, that's right. The Bull Ring up north where I grew up. Riverhead Raceway, the tight quarter mile in Long Island, New York. But you know, Oxford Plains on the top of that for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. I remember back in the 80s going to, I think it was late 80s, going to see like Mike McLaughlin in the Coors Extra Gold car and going to Oxford for a modified race. And that is one of America's really strong short tracks up there in Maine. And, of course, the host of the Oxford 250. But to see the ground pounders return to Oxford, I'm marking that on my calendar as something that I'm going to be here. Okay, but I'm going to go back home, and I'm going to watch that because modifieds anywhere are awesome. But a place like Oxford, I think that's a really cool thing for the tour to go back up to Maine.
Also, worth noting next week, yes, it's a Twin 25 modified night here at Bowman Gray. But you go online, you read the calendar, there are two words that stand out to me.
What are those two words?
Crown Vics.
Oh, that's because the Crown Vic Outlaw Super Series will make their Bowman Gray Stadium debut. Wild and woolly action here next Saturday night. You're going to want to come to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Now the double file choose cone or whatever is out. Burt Myers, for the first time tonight, just past the midway point, will restart this one on the outside. The famed orange bumper, will he get a good start here? Bone Myers to the loud pedal. Side by side into the south turn they go. 2 by 2, red and white walls striping on by. What a battle up front.
One of the most even restarts we've seen all night long as Burt Myers is able to hang with Danny Bone, at least for the moment, on that outside lane. Brandon Ward doing the same with Tim Brown just a row behind. Mike Speedy's been able to climb up into the mid spot. Here goes Tim Brown making contact there with Burt Myers in the middle of the corner. Sends Burt right up the racetrack, and Tim Brown will go to second, at least for the time being. But Burt Myers still fighting hard on the outside line.
The Walnut Cove driver is just strapped down the belts. He got a little kick from the right rear of the 83. He took the gusto back to the outside. He's driving a little bit angry right now. And the fans are on their feet right now because it's Brown and Myers and then Brandon Ward battling here, the Hayes Jewelers 200.
Tim Brown now has Burt Myers right in arrears, and immediately there's contact between the two, and Myers had to check up, and he lost the spot to Brandon Ward in the process. And now Mike Speedy, who had all kinds of altercations with Burt Myers 1 year ago, is into Burt, and he might have just put Burt almost in the wall there.
Wow, the gloves are off here in the Hayes Jewelers 200. Burt Myers is going backwards. Now Riley Neal gets into the one and moves him up. Burt Myers feels like a pinball at this point in the race. Can he recover? He does. Soars it into turn number 1. The orange bumper taps the back of the number 10 of Spini. Things maybe will settle down here at the Madhouse. We'll see here in momentarily, but wow, what a last few laps after that restart. We're going to have to catch our breaths up here in the booth.
I would not bet on anything settling down because Mike Spini and Burt Myers do not like each other. There was a lot of bad blood between these two 1 season ago. So Burt now putting the rear bumper to Spini's machine for the moment, but if he moves Spini, how does Spini respond?
Oh,
brake check
brake
in the
check.
middle of the corner. Spini knew it was coming and held up that entire line. How many times does he do that? How many times can he get away with that? And if Burt gets clear off contact, how does Spini respond? That is what we have to watch here as we approach lap 115.
Things are getting spicy here at Bowman Gray Stadium, and now another tap to the back bumper. What Spini is doing there is making sure he slows down in the center of the corner before he gets on throttle. That is defensive driving. You've heard of that in driver's education back in the day, but in modifieds, you can kind of back up your turn in the center of the corner and really thwart the progression, the momentum of the driver behind you, and that's what he's doing there. You would think he'd want to go faster in front of Burt Myers, but sometimes that's how you manage your race, slowing down into that bumper and really kind of screwing up Burt Myers there. And this is going to be an interesting one right here. We're going to keep our cameras locked onto it. That orange bumper, well, it's famous. It's got its own podcast.
I don't know too many car parts with their own podcasts.
No, I don't. I mean, the Orange Cone had a Twitter account back in the day, but I mean, I'll tell you, the Orange Bumper podcast is a good podcast. Okay,
Good listen, yeah.
Yeah, good listen, good watch on Facebook. Burt Myers doing a lot of social media with his sponsor Citrus Safe there, and these two made the headlines last year. You know, when you have a rivalry that results in a driver taking out a billboard on the highway to kind of, what would you call it? Would you call it trolling the other driver?
Make a point.
Make a point.
Something of that nature, right?
I've been in motorsports, you know, since grass has been green, and I've never seen something like that in my life.
So I almost wonder, if this goes green, your strategy play here for Mike Spini is to A, try and make Burt wear out his tires and equipment trying to get around him, and B, if you can back up your corners and brake check them enough in the center that you pull Riley Neal and John Holloman to Burt's rear bumper and make that a battle for the 5th position instead of the fight for 4th that Spini currently has on his hands right now.
Well, you're 122 laps into this event, and Mike Spini has a really good race car. He's shown it coming from towards the rear of this field, starting in 18th position, and now up to the 4th position. So you know he's got a good car. Right now, he's got about 10 car lengths in front of him to catch the 3rd place driver of Brandon Ward. So why try to charge hard and catch him? Okay, it's 124 laps in. You know you're going to probably get a caution here likely. And then that next caution will probably be a caution that brings everybody in for tires, unless we go green now for an extended period of time. Then you might see people not taking tires.
The other piece of this, I think, worth noting, leaders are about to catch lap traffic. Daniel Beeson and Randy Butner are wheel to wheel for position right in front of Danny Bone, and that's going to cause a log jam with Bone, with Tim Brown, with Brandon Ward, and if they can get to him, then it would be Spini and Burt Myers.
The leaders getting around lap traffic. Randy Butner, the respectful veteran, drops to the inside. Daniel Beeson is next on the pecking order for your leaders to put a lap down here in the Hayes Jewelers 200. Looking further back, so you have Danny Bone leading with Tim Brown 2nd position. 3rd will be Brandon Ward in the Q104.1. Kevin Says Yes.com 104, now a 04 this year. Spini driving in the 4th position with Burt Myers to his tail. Riley Neal moving up in this race is right behind them with John Holloman the 4th and John Boy Brown. Look at the double box right here. We're keeping an eye on our leaders here, dealing with lap traffic on the left side of your screen, Pike, and on the right. I think everybody at the stadium is looking at the battle between Speedy and the one that has seemed to cool down, but you just never know when something erupts.
I wish I had more than 2 eyes in my head right now so I could watch all these battles a little bit more comfortably.
Don't flies have a bunch of eyes?
Something like that. Yeah, that would be handy right now because then I can see everything. But right now, we're trying to keep our eyes on as many battles as we possibly can. This is the battle for the 4th position between Mike Sweeney and Burt Myers after all of the heated incidents that they had 1 season ago. Seems like things have picked up right where they left off in 2025. Meanwhile, Denny Bone and Tim Brown maybe a car length apart behind the lap traffic of Lee Jeffries. So not much separation there either.
Talking about that rivalry, though, and I know Burt doesn't want to talk about it. He made that very clear towards the end of the year. There's a reason. When that rivalry happened, Burt Myers had a really realistic shot at his 12th championship, which would tie Tim Brown.
Call 811 before you dig. Caution is out once again. Contact between Danny Probst, and Andrew Hara.
The Hara number 3, the Myers Brothers Racing entry, is spun in turn number 2. We are 136 laps into the 200-lap affair here at Bowman Gray Stadium with Danny Bone leading the whole way, but things are getting spicy. Let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back at Bowman Gray. Feverish work going down behind the field house and to the left side of it from our vantage point. There is the Myers number 4 machine, the Advantage number 4. Panda and the crew working on that thing. Now getting the number 4 back out onto the racing surface. His brother, Burt Myers, is the one we've been keeping an eye out when we're green flag racing. Randy Butner also to the aid of his pit crew. Danny Probst. Now you see the 75 pulling up. John Holloman pulling up to go to pit road. It appears he's one of the first front runners that is going to come in at lap 138 and presumably take some fresh Hoosier rubber. Before, we had said it was all the way back to like Jason Myers, who was running about 13th, and everybody in front of that hasn't had tires. Now Holloman will be the first one to do it.
Lee Jeffries set to come into pit road as well.
Holloman was running well within the top 10 most of this race.
So Jeffries and Holloman go down pit road. Looks like everybody else is going to stay out on pit road. Worth noting, I think, in the first edition of Text from Marjorie of 2026, you remember the fly point we made?
Hold on. Let's preface this,
Fair.
folks,
Okay.
because Text for Marjorie, people are going, what the hell is this? Text for Marjorie is something beloved by us up here because your mom is awesome, by the way. I got to have lunch with her when we all had lunch before Bowman Gray one day. But your mom loves watching the broadcast, and her banter back and forth on text messages with you is just fun. Go ahead. Sorry.
So, to the point of, maybe being a fly because they've got eyes all over their head.
Yeah.
She made the point. She said, well, you could be a spider because they have 8 eyes.
Oh, they do?
And that would cover it.
8 eyes? Well, yeah. We got 26 modifieds. I mean, we cover most of the field.
Figure that out. If
4 turns, one eye each turn.
One eye for like 2 or 3 cars?
And then 2 eyes for the straightaways, and then maybe the other 2 eyes can be on standby to look at the fans, because people watching here is amazing at Bowman Gray. My wife always said, like, one of her favorite things was coming here to people watch. There is the Black Sand Company number 69 for the kid from Sprague Street, who now lives in Tennessee.
Made the drive from the Knoxville area, about 4 hours west of Winston-Salem on I-40. Recapping that pit stop, Holloman took right side tires, left side tires for Jason Myers, rear tires for Junior Snow, and a right rear tire change for Lee Jeffries on that pit stop. So, also wanted to pass along
the tire game. This is going to get fun. I am surprised I haven't seen anybody else in that kind of top 10 dip in. You know, a guy like John Boy Brown, you know, Slate Myers or Riley Neal, why wouldn't you come in right now and try to bolt on some, unless you really think with 60 laps to go, you're confident enough in your car to maybe just go the whole way. That might be the play here, but I don't know. I thought we'd see monkey do with last year. Double file, restart. Here's the choose. You see the red mark. The leader chooses the inside. Now it's a choice behind that. Ward to the inside. Speeney chooses the outside. So let's see if Myers tries to fill that hole on the bottom. Riley Neal to the top in the 3rd row on this restart. Slate Myers right behind him. I'm just going to call this Contention City, because it seems like when I name names, it seems like, well, I mentioned that name. Well, Myers, Speeney, well, you know, Slayton, Riley, and Myers and the 83. Winston-Salem, North Carolina, this quarter-mile oval is Contention City at times.
All the time. What are you talking about sometimes? As we go back to green flag racing, bit of a slide there from Danny Bone. Tim Brown with a good drive to the outside. Contact there between the 2 leaders. Brown still hanging tough on that high line. They've gapped Brandon Ward a little bit, but Brown is going to cede the spot on that high line and tuck in behind Danny Bone and go to second.
Side by side behind him, Myers gets the spot by Speeney. Speeney in trouble on the high side. Riley Neal, the young racer, fills the hole underneath him. The 07 with purple sparkling in the lights takes the 5 spot.
Nice work there from Riley Neal to take advantage of that inside line. That's about as clean a pass as we've seen all night long. Speeney will fall back to the 6th position. Tim Brown starting to reel in Danny Bone a little bit. Last time by, the Hayes Jewelers Special was a little bit quicker, and then Burt Myers is all over the rear bumper of Brandon Ward.
Single file around here. Riley Neal in the 5th spot, having himself a good run here in the Hayes Jewelers 200. The garage doors of the Triad machine. Been working with his father in their garage on that. Now the pressure is on for the 3rd position. Burt Myers looking for daylight, using the orange bumper to the backside of last year's champion, Brandon Ward, in the 04.
53 laps to go in the 51st Hayes Jewelers 200, and the 57 machine of Danny Bone still in control of this as we watch the battle for the 3rd position. And now get a good look at the race leader.
Danny Bone has been enjoying life at the front. Yellow flag is out.
Slate Myers has come to a stop over by the entry to turn 3.
The McDonald's number 6, having himself a good run in the top 10, is now stopped on the back straightaway. The young 4th generation racer. He's been racing a lot in modified tour type competition around the Southeast lately, of course running in the Smart Modified Tour. Now he dips behind the field house. Let's take a quick break as he goes back behind the field house, and Trey Hutchins pulls up to pit, and we'll be back on Flow Racing. We're back at Bowman Gray Stadium, and just when we took the commercial break, if you notice, there's a car missing from the top 3. Last year, he came in and took 4 tires, came back out and got the win. Brandon Ward hoping to repeat history. There he is re-entering the racetrack. Ward's 04, the KP Speed Motorsports machine. Oh, narrowly getting by the 6 car there. And Brandon Ward rejoins the racetrack, and now it looks like he's going to go back into – no, he's not. He's coming up around. I think he's going to pull up to pit again, but Ward going in for tires. Now, this is interesting. 50 laps to go in this race, and it looks like he's going to pull up again and maybe go in and change 2 more tires. Maybe it's the 4, just like last year.
Trey Hutchins also pulling up, appearing to be ready to come into pit road. And gives us an opportunity here while we watch these cars roll around Bowman Gray caution to talk about what happened at the end of last year's Hayes Jewelers 200, where you see the contact here coming to the final corner there. Burt Myers got a proper north turn nudge from Brandon Ward. Ward comes away with the Hayes Jewelers 200 and the crystal ball. Here's another shot at it. And the interesting thing to me, when we spoke to both of them individually after this, they both said if the shoe were on the other foot, they would have done the exact same thing. That's just how it is here. And I think
an iconic win.
By extension. And that's something that I think actually doesn't get particularly well explained around the racing community. The line of what's acceptable and how to race at Bowman Gray is different than it is at other places. And where I think there are a lot of places that maybe would take offense to that kind of racing, but that's normal at Bowman Gray Stadium. That is the line here. The standards are different here because the racing is different here. As you see the new left front on Brandon Ward's machine. So new tires.
He's got all 4 now.
And he's got 4 sticker tires to try and run down this field and go get the win with just under 50 laps to go. 48 laps left here under yellow. We are coming to the 2 and the choose.
The choose. Tim Brown to the outside. Myers to the inside. Riley Neal moves up to the 4 spot. He will restart on the outside. Mike Speeney will be to the backside of the Citrus Safe number 1 and his QRC number 10. John Boy. First time seeing Jordan Fleming towards the front of this field. He will restart in the 7th position in the number 99 Peterbilt machine. Formerly driven by Crab Smith, who just celebrated a birthday. Crab Smith, one of the great modified racers here for so long. Letting Jordan run this car. Green flag is back out. A big jump from the outside. Yellow flag is out. Randy Smith and the officiating crew not liking that restart. They call it back.
So let's try it again, shall we? Coming to lap 155. 45 laps to go in the 51st Hayes Jewelers 200.
Who's the cat? Who's the mouse? Because it's a cat and mouse game on
Who's
those
the
restarts.
cheese? Might be the better question.
The cheese is the trophy or the checkered flag.
Right.
That's what they're all going for right here. Green flag is out, and that's an even start right there. Great job by both of those modified drivers right there, side by side. Burt Myers in trouble. A stack up behind him. Myers is in trouble. Slam Speedy. Speedy and Myers are into the wall in the north turn. Chaos here at Bowman Gray Stadium as Jeffries is around. Butner was involved. The big stack up caused that. But watching when that happened, Burt Myers and Speedy revisited a little bit of contact there in the north turn.
You think they don't like each other still, don't they? Yeah, right? And that's probably underselling it, truthfully. There was lots of contact there and a big stack up. There were about 3 different areas that we can look at as we go take a look at our Hudson Auto Works replay. This is the stack up here a little bit further back. Lee Jeffries just gets pile driven by Jeremy Gerstner there, but that was all a stack up. There's nowhere that Gerstner could go, and that's officially what brought out the yellow. But you see the contact between Speedy
got into him.
And Burt there coming out of turn 2 where they almost got the fence.
We don't see it there, but right off to the left of the screen, right after that happened, Burt Myers threw it into the turn and made contact with Speedy into turn number 3. So that was interesting. Burt Myers not happy, presumably, with the contact on that restart in turn 2. from the front bumper of Speeney, returning the favor in turn 3 as everybody crashed on the front straightaway. Plots thicken. The fans sure feel it. We feel it even up here in the booth.
This just has the feel of a powder keg waiting to go off at some point, doesn't it?
Tinderbox, buddy.
Doesn't it? It just we're waiting here. Now we've got officials coming out on the racetrack.
Garrison is going to try to get this lineup sorted. There's some confusion and some cars jockeying for their positions here as the tower communicates down to who will be in the proper order. Robert Pettit to our left. Scorers, Richard Miller and his whole entire crew here, hands scoring. Gray Garrison to my left, above them, looking over that, making sure they get it right. They do a great job up here of making sure they do. Well, now it's scored as the 57, then the 83. Then young Riley Neal will be scored in third position. The 51 of Junior Snow, making hay on those restarts with all that wild and crazy action, is now being scored in third position. Now, side by side here, stopped on the front stretch, is Myers and Speeney.
And they are calling Speeney's car first, and all the Myers fans immediately reacted in the stands on that one. They're frustrated. John Holloman's going to go ahead of
Burt is not happy inside that race car. I think he
Brandon
feels
Ward
like
is going.
He should be in front of these cars.
Jason Myers is going. How deep are they going to score Burt Myers? There are fans actively getting up on their feet in frustration here with confusion. I see one person here gesturing, saying, finally. So Burt Myers is going to go back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Are they deeming that he brought out the caution?
Or was involved in it, perhaps?
Was involved in it, perhaps?
Officially?
I don't know. Or they might have scored him where he blended. Now Burt Myers is to the outside of those cars. I think he's going to take this opportunity to come in and pit. So this could be a blessing in some ways to Burt Myers and his team, especially at this juncture of the race, being able to come in and take tires.
It's if I'm going to lose all that track position, this just sort of forces my hand a little bit. Now, in the 50 previous runnings of the Hayes Jewelers 200, only 9 times has a driver led all 200 laps. And so far, Danny Bowman has led every single one of the 158 laps that we have completed here tonight.
I think this is going to be a case of Danny trying to complete this race without taking tires. Here's why. A la Junior Miller back in the day, since he's up front, he's been able to manage his tires, manage his own pace, okay? And right now, if you were Danny Bone, at this point in the race, you would probably want to come in and take your tires, because if he does, everybody will follow him to take theirs, okay? So I think the Bone camp, my prediction is they're going to try to make this race all 200 laps.
And I think I go back to the very beginning of this race when Tim Brown and Brandon Ward were second and third, and they were fighting each other, and Bone was able to gap them significantly. He was able to run his own pace, much less race. How much tire did he save in that stretch, and how much might that pay off here and now that we're working towards the last 40 laps? I think that's a big question that we have to ask, because if Danny Bone was able to save a good amount of tire, there's no reason for him to come in at this point.
Look at the fans leaning over the facade of this stadium right now, cheering on Burt Myers, the 11-time stadium champion in the modified division, the Brad's Golf Cars modified division here at Bowman Gray. Interesting to note, Junior Snow in that pink car in 4th position. Junior Snow, one of the most frustrated drivers here all weekend long, as Burt Myers pulls up alongside the pace car to pit. But there is Junior Snow's car all the way up to 4th. You want to talk about a frustrated race car driver. Seeing him yesterday after qualifying, they took a few mock runs, and they felt like the tire that they put on just did not perform, and the car went to complete different direction in qualifying. He's been a very, let's just say, it's okay, Junior. He's been grumpy this weekend, and he's got 4 new tires on that car because he's been on pit road back behind the field house, I think 2 times, maybe 3. He's taken tires. So right now, in this order that we're seeing currently, he's in 4th, and Junior Snow in that pink and black car is the first car with fresh rubber. Dr. Feelgood's on that car. Could it be Junior Snow's night
If he can hold the track position, and if we get a lot of yellows especially, to slow down the pace of this race and make it difficult for people to run from the back to the front, that's absolutely a possibility, I think.
There's Burt Myers rejoining the field.
Something we absolutely have to consider here is Myers is back out on the racetrack, and now we know the job that Burt Myers has ahead of him to try and get back to the front and go after yet another win in the Hayes Jewelers 200. 2 and 2s coming this time, so 2 to go. Not a new pace car, but a new wrap on this pace car, courtesy of the friends at Modern Chevrolet, but formerly a red machine, now a black Chevrolet that paces the field around. Right side tires for Burt Myers as the restart lineup will look like this. You've got Bone and Tim Brown up front, Real Deal Riley Neal and Jonathan Brown in that second row. Third row, Junior Snow. And how about Jordan Fleming up to the 6th position? We've not called his name much tonight. And then you've got Speedy and Holloman, and then Jason Myers and Brandon Ward ready to go. Lap 161, we get the restart. Bone slid it a little bit, set it a lot, and Tim Brown is going to take the lead, and Bone is out of first place for the first time all night.
He spun the tires on the restart, and that might cost him dearly. The Hayes Jewelers rocket is up front. Now a stack up further back in the field. Jordan Fleming hanging on to that race car for dear life. Here comes John Holloman, the 4th, the black 69 with the pink numbers on it. He's got fresh rubber. He's trying to make his way up to the front. Jason Myers on the bottom of that machine right now. Further back from that, you see Brandon Ward closing in behind him. He's got fresh rubber on his car. It's going to be the who has it and who doesn't. The haves, the have-nots as far as rubber on their modified machines.
Brandon Ward is trying to find a way around Jordan Fleming and just cannot do it. Burt Myers is trying to work to the outside of Jeremy Gerster and has not found a way around the Flying Floridian just yet. And they both need to start picking up track position because all of a sudden we've got 34 laps to go.
It is go time here in the Hayes Jewelers 200, and it is time for Danny Bone to try to shake off that frustration. And it's time for others that are further back in the field to try to make hay. Oh boy. Looking back further, there's a side-by-side battle heading into turn 1. John Holloman muscling his way around Mike Speeney in the south turn. He gets the 6th spot from Speeney. Now a stack up. Your defending race winner almost spins. And now the Mayberry Bullet, John Smith, spins his 71 to bring out the caution yet again.
Speeney checked up in the middle of the corner. That started the accordion effect that ended with the Mayberry Bullet, John Smith, going around in the middle of the north turn, right in the middle of turns 3 and 4. And we've called that a few times tonight. So as we go under another call, 811, before you get caution, let's explain that a little bit. Yes, you have turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, technically speaking, like every other racetrack, but Bowman Gray being Bowman Gray, the turns are also referred to colloquially as the south turn, which is the turn 1 and 2 end that you see on the far end of your screen here. The drivers head down the back straightaway into the north turn, turns 3 and 4. They are so named because of their directional and geographic orientation. 3 and 4 sit on the north end of the racetrack. If you were looking at it on a map, the south end of the racetrack is where you find turns 1 and 2. So that's where the names, the north turn and the south turn here at Bowman Gray, come from. And thanks for coming to my history lesson here during the broadcast of the 51st Hayes Jewelers 200. You're welcome.
What other racetrack had a north turn and south turn that's famous?
Oh.
Trivia? Come on, Professor.
Oh, you put me on the spot. I actually teaching.
What's the most famous NASCAR racetrack besides here that has had a north turn and south turn?
I will kick myself when you say this.
It's a hint. We'll catch up on this when we come back. Bill France promoted it. Let's go to caution. Let's go to caution. Let's go to commercial. Same difference on Flow Racing. We'll be back. We are back here at Bowman Gray Stadium and ready for another exciting double file restart. This time, Danny Bone to the outside, Tim Brown to the inside. Brown gets the spot into turn number 1. Can John Boy, Jonathan Brown fill the hole behind them? Can the 57 make it to the bottom? He does so. Holloman with fresh tires, charging hard in the Black Sand Company 69 on the outside. File him to the bottom in 3rd position.
John Holloman has a habit of finding his way to the front of the field at the end of these races. He's not always up there, but when he decides to make his move and lay down the dice, he usually is near the front when you need to be there. And he's got a shot at this, working on 25 laps to go. We are down to a 25 races length worth of laps left, and Tim Brown is in control of the Hayes Jewelers 200.
Of note, that caution flag that we just came back from, Burt Myers revisited pit road with his CitraSafe #1 machine. Your top 5 right now is Brown, Bone, Holloman the 4th, Jonathan John Boy Brown, move Jason Myers up to the 5th position, Riley Neal in 6th, 7th for Brandon Ward, 8th for Junior Snow, 9th for Mike Sweeney, and 10th for young Jordan Fleming.
Starting the string out now, Jason Myers a little bit sideways further back as Riley Neal tries to get the spots. Contact there, and now they wreck, and Riley Neal goes around. There was contact, I believe, with Junior Snow, and the call 811 before you did caution comes out once again.
Oh, the great run for Riley Neal ends with a trip to the grass in turn 1 and 2, the south turn. The driver of the garage doors of the Triad 07. Oh, that night he's got to be frustrated inside that race car now. But will he now take it to pit road and maybe get some tires? Yes, he does. He hops to the outside. That is a very smart move. His father, Kevin Neal, on the radio. The fans leaning over the facade of the racetrack right now. Actually, he's not going to pit. Here is your Hudson Auto Works replay. And there is Jason Myers was sideways there off the turn, and now Riley Neal tries to cut to the bottom, gets into the 4. The 4 was having some trouble, so that's a racing accident right there. Nothing that the 07 could do.
There are about 3 or 4 different things that I think sort of stacked up there on top of one another.
Yep. All right, let's take a quick break here on Flow Racing. We'll be back. The choose is out. Let's see who chooses the bottom. We know the leader will. Bone will go to the outside. Holloman, his first time of the inside within the top 3. Jonathan Brown chooses the outside as the cars now enter the south turn. And your trivia question, what was the only other major big-time NASCAR facility that had a north turn and south turn reference? And Bill France, Big Bill France, promoted that track as well as he did this track, the first weekly racetrack in NASCAR sanctioned history here at Bowman Gray. It was the Daytona Beach and Road Course, famously the North Turn and the South Turn. The North Turn restaurant to this day hosted where the payout window was. Green flag is back out. 181 laps side by side. Bone on the outside. Give the advantage to the 83, but Bone battling hard back on the outside. He's got the bull. He's got the brawn. He's trying hard on that outside groove. Now he files in to the back bumper of Brown. Behind him, Jonathan Brown fighting hard.
Oh, contact! And oh, there goes one car to the wall. It's Jonathan Brown who got sent up there off the accordion and the chain that started with contact between Tim Brown and Danny Bone. Holloman, I think, or Brandon Ward, one of those two got into Bone, who then got into Jonathan Brown, and Brown gets the worst of it and is stopped just after the apex of the south turn.
You know, it's very hairy, you know? Very, very hairy on these restarts. Side by side, everybody jostling for battling position right there. The Hudson Auto Works replay is going to show us exactly what happened, so we can break it down here. That's kind of a little early there, late there in the go to see it, but maybe we could back that one up. But it was a little accordion effect maybe that really just stacked them up and caused that. The 57 getting into Brown getting sideways, stacks them up, and then it shoots Bone to the outside, and the innocent victim of that is the number 22 PSR machine.
Yeah, so Brown and Bone make contact. Holloman gets into Bone as Bone is stacking up. That's a racing deal. And then Brown is just wrong place, wrong time. So everybody according. But we go back to the themes of aggressive racing, intense racing, the level of intensity ramping up. We would not have seen that incident, I don't think, some 50 laps ago. But now with inside of 20 laps to go, makes sense to see Jonathan Brown out of his race car. While they pick that car up and tow it back to pit road, we are going to take another break, and we are going to be back with more coverage of the Hayes Jewelers 200 live on Flow Racing.
We're back on Flow Racing, and this is why we're under caution. A little bit of a stack up there, and yeah, Bone right there kind of got stacked up, and it shot his car to the outside into John Boy Brown's car, causing this yellow flag. Now we go back to the restarts. 185 laps on the board. Tim Brown, your leader in the Hayes Jewelers Special. Is he a sitting duck? Fresh tires all around him. The restart is on.
Brandon Ward has worked his way up to the inside, right behind Tim Brown on the second row. Got a great drive underneath John Holloman as Jason Myers gets turned. And we have a parking lot at the exit of turn 2, and the caution flag is out again.
Jason Myers, Mike Speeney, Jeremy Gerstner, Junior Snow, Burt Myers, Trey Hutchins, the 07 of Riley Neal, Kyle Southern involved in this one. Myers trying to back up and leave the scene of the wreck. Speeney does so. Jason Myers was around in a puff of smoke, causing the big one out of turn number 2.
Mike Speeney was at the front of that train. You see Randy Butner trying to get around everybody there. And then we've got Riley Neal stuck. Burt Myers in the middle of that. And
trying to give him a push there to get him off there.
Right. Can't tell what the one car is stuck on.
Yeah, I think he's stuck on the rear bumper.
Maybe
the
rear
I-beam
bumper,
of the rear
I-beam,
bumper is
yeah.
up on the front bumper, the chrome horn, and the sheet metal there, and might be stuck on. It's not stuck on a shock tower, but it is stuck up there.
Take a look at the Hudson Auto Works replay to see how this panned out. Contact between Jason Myers and Mike Speeney starts this, and they all just stack up behind trying to avoid it. But Trey Hutchins drove right into the back of Burt Myers. Jeremy Gerster had nowhere to go. Riley Neal was stuck. Randy Butner was trapped behind all of that. So
that was interesting right there, because what was the crux of that? I'd love to see that again.
The crux was Mike Speedy and Jason Myers getting
Speedy, and then what's the last name of the guy he
Myers.
pushed? Interesting, folks. Let's take a break on Flow Racing. The Myers-Speedy rivalry? Has it continued and crossed brotherly lines? We'll find out here on Flow Racing next. $13 laps to go here at the Hayes Jewelers 200 as the fans are watching here at the Madhouse, and there has been all sorts of plots, twists, and turns. This race was dominated for about 2/3 of it by Danny Bone, the driver of the 57 who captured the pole here yesterday. Bone involved in an incident that sent Jonathan Brown to the outside wall. Bone went to the pit area, presumably the damage on his car from that contact. He has not returned to the racetrack. We restarted there, and that's when the big one happened in turn number 2. Burt Myers now and Trey Hutchins have removed their race cars from the scene. Not too much serious damage. I'm wondering if Burt Myers' left front there took a little bit of a shot, so maybe the toe could be out on that number 1. We'll see when we go green. 187 laps on the board. Tim Brown is your leader in the throwback paint scheme that he made famous here. The Hayes Jewelers cars, well, they've always been blue. Back from Ralph Brinkley and his famed number 9, one of the greats here at Bowman Gray Stadium. That Hayes Jewelers lineage carried over to one of the greatest drivers in the history of this stadium, who is now on top of the wins list, on top of the titles list, and on top of the scoreboard right now with only a handful of laps to go. That is the Tobaccoville driver, Tim Brown.
Another observation here, just looking down at the concourse beneath us and around the stadium, there are a lot of fans that are up out of their seats, and dare I say, they look a little bit restless. And here's the thing, if the fans are restless, waiting under the red flag as they've gotten this incident cleaned up, I can only imagine how restless the drivers are behind the wheels of these cars.
It's that air of anticipation when the closing laps happen. We have all these laps, and this is not a sprint like the Twin 25s we'll see next week. This is the marathon of the year, the longest race for these drivers. So the anticipation builds throughout the race. Things are calm. You know, little moments have happened, right? But now we're getting to, like we said, go time, and it's an interesting battle because Tim Brown has 188 lap tires on that lead machine, but he has the preferred groove on the restart. We saw Danny Bone slip those tires on the restart, and he gave up the lead. As long as he gets a good launch and doesn't spin it, can he hold off the fresh rubber that is behind him? John Holloman IV, fresh rubber. Behind him, Brandon Ward, the defending champion of this race and this division, is right behind him. Fresh rubber can mean a lot here in the closing stages.
They are trying to sort this field out and determine where everyone is supposed to be, taking a little bit of time. Up here are Matt Garrison and company, just to make sure that this restored order is sorted out properly, which it gets a little bit tricky to have to review the video and figure out who belongs where, especially when you have a stack up that involves, you know, more than just 2 or 3 cars. That was a good sort of quarter of the field that was near or in or around that incident. So we continue to get everybody sorted. Now we've got everybody involved in a single file line. 2 right side tires for John Holloman, and then the first car on 4 fresh tires. Surprise, surprise, the folks at KP Speed Motorsports have Brandon Ward in a very, very good spot. Fresh tires, fresh rubber, and a very, very fast car, and a very real opportunity to claim back-to-back Hayes Jewelers 200s.
Tim Brown's family in attendance. Cam, his son, Marley. The whole Hayes Jewelers camp in a suite down below us. We know who they want to take this checkered flag. The fans, it's pretty much split down the middle. The 69 car behind them, a famous number here at Bowman Gray Stadium. A famous family in their own right. John Holloman, his father, John Holloman, a winner here. Now John Holloman the 4th, a guy that's won here in 3 different divisions. He's never won a race this big, though.
Never, never. Tim Brown hasn't won this race in 13 years, if you can believe it, right? 2013 was the last time that Brown won the Hayes Jewelers 200 in the Hayes Jewelers Special. So there's motivation there. Holloman, there's the obvious motivation. Back-to-backs on the line for Brandon Ward. And then Jordan Fleming. What a weekend Jordan Fleming has had. We didn't get the chance to talk about it much.
Yes.
Jordan Fleming had a terrible qualifying effort, got way sideways coming out of turn 4 on his Friday qualifying effort. Requalified tonight, gained a full second on his time compared to Friday. Started 11th and has worked his way up to the 4th position. And like everybody else, has a shot here with 10 laps to go. 2 and choose coming this way. Brown to the inside, Holloman outside, Ward inside, Fleming inside. Daniel Beeson is going to start outside of row 2, and Danny Probst inside of row 4. Andrew Hara is up there, Jeremy Gerstner. So a lot of names that we haven't seen near the front, timing it out well, taking advantage of others' misfortune, and setting themselves up for at least an opportunity. And at this point, that's about all you can ask for.
All you want is a chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
The driver of the inside has the best spot in the house right now. Leading this one with 8 laps to go is the Tobaccoville driver, Tim Brown, to the outside. Hungry is Holloman. Green flag is out, side by side, clanking Nerf bars into the south turn. Go the leaders. Now here comes Brandon Ward to the inside, stacking up further behind him. There's a melee. Now Holloman into the back bumper of Brown, and he slows down. Jordan Fleming to the outside. That will bring out a yellow flag. Fleming's Cinderella run ends with a flat tire, it appears.
Flat right front. There was contact up along the wall over in the north turn. He got stuck up along the fence. I couldn't tell where the initial contact came from, but it is flat enough that is going to have to bring, or Fleming will have to bring his car down pit road.
What is it with him? The kid needs some luck. The Madhouse Classic, the first one 2 years ago, he was just running so good up front in that race and then had engine troubles. Now he's running strong up in the top 5 here after a challenging weekend, fighting back from woes in qualifying, fighting back from an early race incident in this race tonight in that Taylor Auto Parts car, and now it all goes south again. This is a talented race car driver that's going to get him. He's going to get him a win here this year if he sticks at it. And tonight, though, probably not that night.
I will accept responsibility for the commentator's curse.
Oh, there's no such thing.
That was about as textbook as you could ask for on that front.
No, I don't believe in the commentator's curse. I think it's a bunch of junk. First of all, I don't believe in superstition, says the guy that was the most superstitious person in the room years ago. But our job as commentators is what? Talk about who?
The drivers.
Yeah, so when we talk about a driver and something goes south in that driver's day, it ain't our fault. We're just doing our job talking about them. There you go. My 2 cents. My 3 cents. It's worth more than 2 cents.
It is disappointing, though, to see Jordan Fleming's shot at this win end in that way. After the fight back that they had
tough
put
night
together
for the Fleming
all weekend.
family,
yeah,
too.
No, because Chris's car broke very early in this race. So they more, I think, than any other group here will be more than happy to turn the page on this weekend and look forward to our first Twin 25s, which you can see live next week, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Flow Racing can catch it on demand as well. So if you don't get the chance to watch it live, if you're at your local short track and you want to see what happens at Bowman Gray once you get back home, You can throw the replay on just the same and see what happened in the adventures of the Madhouse. 1 to go here.
1 to go, and a plot change right here because that caution flag took a little longer than we expected, unfortunately. Single file restart to end this one. The rule is on the 200, with 5 laps to go, it turns to single file. They discussed it in the drivers' meeting today. It's a tradition. Some people don't agree with it, but guess what? That is what it is. That is the rules. But guess what? That doesn't mean the race is over for John Holloman. He's got a chrome horn, and we've seen he's not afraid to use it.
Here we go. Jimmy Absher pulls the pace car off. Green flag back out once again. Great jump there. John Holloman did not get going at all whatsoever. He's going to get sent in the middle of the corner by Brandon Ward, who's going to go to his inside and try and take away second.
Ward to the bottom, gets chopped off in the north turn. Holloman fighting for his life on the in the second spot. Further behind him, Jeremy Gershner now moves up into the 3 spot. Big trouble in turn number 1. Riley Neal goes around. Daniel Beeson, I did it again. Beeson and the Mighty Mouse Legendary Garage Machine has spun. Caution flags out once again. That's not what Tim Brown wanted to see.
That is a lifesaver for John Holloman
Yes.
IV, who did not get that restart right at all, and now is going to have another chance. Derek Perniciglio.
Fresh off his, doctor's visit.
Seems like
there was an incredible video going around.
Right.
We'll talk about it. He does media for the driver that's now in the 3rd position, the 04 of Brandon Ward. And let's just say he had a procedure done yesterday, and he was under the influence of the medication that sedated him. And his girlfriend basically videotaped it. And it's one of the most humorous videos I've seen in a long time. It provided about a 1:30 a.m. belly laugh for me that lasted 15 minutes. But I digress. His driver right now is in the catbird seat, and on that restart, not in the catbird seat, he's really in a seat that he doesn't want to be in. He wants to be first. Everybody wants to be Tim Brown right now. But he avoided disaster on that start when the contact ensued between him and Holloman. And that just goes to show you the talent of both of those drivers to save those race cars and manage that contact.
It's tough to do here, and you have to find that sort of threshold between making sure that you lay off the throttle and don't get back into it. The natural instinct is to try and just gas it right back up and get to the throttle once again. But if you sort of ride it about maybe, anywhere between 30 and 50%, you have a chance. Also, we are going into overtime.
Well, it's a Hayes Jewelers 200, but it's going to be a little bit more of that. Green-white checker finish for you here on Flow Racing. The granddaddy of them all, the Hayes Jewelers 200, will be decided in front of 16,000 fans here at Bowman Gray Stadium with this restart. Green, next time by. White, next time by. The race is over unless there is a caution flag. Tim Brown needs one heck of a restart here and then needs it to go clean. John Holloman the 4th needs to time it out, and maybe, just maybe, he can win the race of his life.
Green flag out. Great jump there for Tim Brown, who's going to get clear by about half a car length and maybe more. Holloman's car needs some time to get up to speed, but Tim Brown's starting to gap this field when he needs the pace the most. He comes around and takes the white flag, 1 lap away from another Hayes Jewelers 200.
Sparkling under the lights at Bowman Gray Stadium is the legendary blue Hayes Jewelers machine. The drive for 5 is alive, and he now wins his 5th ever Hayes Jewelers 200. Give the win to the Rocket, Tim Brown.
He brings the blue Hayes Jewelers special back to Bowman Gray, and right on cue, it goes back to Carolina Wood Floors victory lane as it has done so many times before. Tim Brown gets his 5th Hayes Jewelers 200, his first since 2013, and his 106th career win at Bowman Gray Stadium, which now moves him 4 wins ahead of Burt Myers for the all-time wins lead here at the Madhouse.
The nostalgia machine has been cranked up, and the volume right now is at 10 on this victory lap in front of this raucous crowd in Winston-Salem. The blue, the red cage, the chrome, it's nostalgia here at Bowman Gray Stadium. The winner of tonight's Hayes Jewelers 200, Tim Brown, his crew running behind him to victory lane. His brother Ben Brown crew chiefing this ride. The Hayes Jewelers Special is back in victory lane. Tim Brown, the winner of the great race, the Hayes Jewelers 200. Let's throw it down to Randy Pulliam, who is trackside.
Tim Brown.
After a marathon of a race, would not be denied. And he takes the win in the Hayes Jewelers 200. Tim having a little difficulty. Needs some assistance to get the Hans device off. He'll be out shortly. His crew, Zach Hayes from Hayes Jewelers down here to greet him. What a night for the 83 of the Rocket, Tim Brown. Madhouse fans, he is just about ready to climb out of the cockpit. Gets a couple. I promise you, he's about to get out of the vehicle. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Brown, the winner of the Hayes 200. Tim. Tim got his family here, getting a hug from his wife. What a win. Tim, win number 106. I know it's got to be pretty emotional for you. Went back to Old Blue. Hayes Jewelers 200. Bruce and Zach Hayes, the family here tonight. You had them. It was a marathon of the race, but you did it, my friend.
Man, I tell you what, God works. It's wonderful. I love Bruce Hayes and Zach Hayes so much for all they've done for me over the years. And to bring this blue car back for one time so Bruce Hayes can see it win a race again. Man, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to hit my knees tonight. I'm going to pray for a freaking hour on how great our God is and the things that he does for us. And I got to thank Todd Hunt for allowing me to do this blue paint scheme. But I need a bottle of water because I promised two women that I was soaking them if we won. Where they at? I see one of them hiding back there. Hey. Where's the other one? Where? No, where?
There it comes. Tim, before you head over to pick up your winner's trophy, I know you have some your sponsors you want to thank. Couldn't do it without your sponsors.
Man, I tell you, I'm absolutely on top of the world. Look at my little sweetheart right here. I soaked her with water. I can't thank Todd Hunt, Jerry Hunt Super Center enough for all that they do. Hayes Jewelers, this Hayes Jewelers special. Traffic Control Safety Services, Duggan's Welding, Mobile One, Raymock Power, Pulliam's Hot Dogs. We got, in memory of Robert Bobby Boyles on the car, Allison gave us some money to put the name on the car. Thank you, Allison. Miss you, Bobby. We got Jacobs Construction. We got Renegade Racing, Fuel Racing Electronics, Keeney's, KRC, Brown & Miller Profab. This race team, my Lord and Savior for everything he does for me, my beautiful wife and my family, and this Dad Burn race team rocks.
Tim Brown.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's heading over
Folks, that's it. Tim Brown, your winner, and Bruce Hayes from Hayes Jewelers gets his 9th Hayes Jewelers 200 win as a longtime sponsor of the Modifieds. Paul Radford, Satch Worley, and now Tim Brown for a 5th time. We'll be back. Flow Racing. We got some more racing next with the Street Stocks.
Sorry about that. QRC HVAC and Refrigeration Street Stock Series running next. Here's the way they'll start up. They drew for their starting positions. Starting 20th from Walkertown in the Gary Odell Grading Septic and Holland Carolina Garage Doors. Car number 9 is Brandon Brown. Starting 19th from Clements in the Parkway Ford Coger Plumbing. Car number 30 is Zach Coger. Running 18th from Low Gap in the Shoup Concrete Grading. Car number 88 is Brian Shoup. Rolling out 17th from Winston-Salem in the European-inspired Automotive Avery's Collision Center. Car number 35 is A.D. Avery. Rolling out 16th from Germantown in the Proud American Beverage and soiled by Randy Wilson. Car number 19 is T.J. Whaley. Rolling out 15th, he'll move to the rear of the field in the Helms Outdoor Services Todd's Tire Service. Car number 37 is Matt Green.
Street Stock time. This division is notorious for its hard-nosed racing and sensational action. Weighing in at just under 3,000 pounds with a 350 cubic inch motor, these cars top out at around 60 miles an hour. But don't be fooled by the lower speeds. The men and women in Street Stock have been giving fans thrills since the 70s. With more coming your way right now.
Welcome back to Flow Racing's coverage of opening night at Bowman Gray Stadium. I'm your host, Matthew Dillner, joined by Campbell City native James Pike, who just saluted as he's texting his mom on Marjorie here, who's watching. And loving the action tonight, of course, Tim Brown winning the Hayes Jewelers 200. But we have 2 races left and a major plot point developing for the stadium stock race. We'll explain that later. We are ready to give you the starting lineup for this 20-lap race with 20 cars in it. Starting on the pole will be the Clifton Plumbing, number 72, the big man. It's Brian Robertson. Brian Robertson on the pole. To the outside, the Right Choice Plumbing, number 68. It's Emily Lewis.
Starting in third of the 98 Velocity machine out of Rockwell, North Carolina, it's Jaden Cordell. Starting in fourth in the Privacy Fence Solutions, number 7 out of Lexington, North Carolina, Kyler Staley.
Starting 5th tonight in the number 97 Apex Race Labs machine, we call him Kid Dynamite. It's Justin Cummings. To the outside in the Red Rooster Grill, number 21, it's Wes Glasgow.
Starting in 7th in the number 1 High Point Body and Paint machine out of Trinity, North Carolina, former champion of this division, Christian Joyce. And starting in 8th in the Motorsports on Main, number 10 out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Kendall Craig Heartless.
Starting 9th, welcome back, 11-time winner here at the stadium. Driving a number 57 tonight, it's Spencer Martin. And to the outside, it's a Martin family row right there. It's the 00 car. It's the Moose, Donnie Martin.
Starting in 11th, the number 13 Garage Doors of the Triad machine out of Moxville, North Carolina, the K-Train, Kevin Gilbert. And starting in 12th, Father, the driver had a pretty good run in the Sportsman division, the number 25, Brian Sykes Sr.
Starting next, he in the 13th spot, a guy that almost took the championship in this division last year, the Ceramic Pro, number 16, it's Brad Daddy, Brad Lewis. To the outside, the number 5 car, moving up from the stadium stocks, the Carter Insulation 5 for Connor Keaton.
Starting in 15th of the number 37 Helms Outdoor Services car out of Lexington, North Carolina, Matt Privet. And starting in 16th from Germantown, North Carolina, and the Scenic Kia of Emerson machine, the number 19 T.J. Whaley.
Andy Avery in the Avery's Collision Center 35 is next, and the Shoup Concrete 88 starts 18th. That's Brian Shoup.
Final 2 starters in this field. In 19th, the number 30 Kogar Plumbing machine out of Clemens, North Carolina, Zach Kogar. And starting in 20th, of the number 9 Fortress Property Solutions machine out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Brandon Brown.
That is your field. 20 laps will be the distance at Bowman Gray Stadium for the street stocks. There is the number 97 on your screen. He is third in that order. That is Justin Cummins. Justin is a guy that's done a lot in his career. Okay, he's raced sports cars. He's also a photographer. He works at Velocita in Lexington, the makers of great fire suits and crew apparel and whatnot. But Justin, over the last few years, he's lost a lot of people really close in his life. Mother, father. He's lost brother. I mean, it's been a tough go for Justin Cummins. And today, just sharing a personal moment, because I know he wouldn't mind. He's so happy to have a race car here this year that finally feels like he's got a shot to belong. But not just belong, but really compete, the driver of that white number 97. So much so that today, just talking about it, he got emotional in the pit area and welled up with tears. You might think these drivers circulating this track are, well, whatever, they're just racing street stock. This isn't the NASCAR Cup Series. But to Justin Cummins, racing here at Bowman Gray on a Saturday night and having a chance to carry that checkered flag around that says Bowman Gray means the world to a guy that suffered a lot of loss, and endured a lot. It would mean everything to get a win here at Bowman Gray Stadium. He's got a chance to do it tonight.
I think that's one of the many great stories, not just at Bowman Gray, but you hear a lot of stories like that in short track racing, especially from an appreciation level where you've got drivers who recognize that maybe their future isn't on Sunday afternoons at a national level, but why not treat your Saturday nights like they do on Sunday afternoons and appreciate what you've got? I think Kid Dynamite's a great example of that. We've got plenty of them here at the stadium. As the lights are off on our pace car, Jimmy Absher is going to get out of the way, and we're going to get going with this QRC HVAC and Refrigeration Street Stack Race to open up their 2026 season.
Kyler Staley in that number 7 car will start fourth. Christian Joyce, trying to regain that championship form, will start fifth. The big man, Bryant Robertson, leads them to green. The Street Stockers 2026 season is underway.
Bryant Robertson with a good jump. Kyler Staley immediately getting down to the bottom to make things big and fast on the inside. Gets to the inside of Bailey Lewis. So there goes Staley now up to second as this field comes up to full song through the corner for the first time.
What a great pass there by Kyler Staley. Not getting into the 68. They had trouble last year, okay? They were, had an incident here. Let's just put it that way. Kyler Staley there didn't have much real estate underneath Emily Lewis, but when he did, he got the car rotated and even used all those left side tires on those turtles and even into the grass. Emily Lewis gets a little squirgly coming through turn number 2, give the P3 spot to West Glasgow.
Squirgly, we're inventing words here. Every single race at Bowman Gray Stadium is Bryant Robertson, Kyler Staley, West Glasgow, Bailey Lewis, and now Christian Joyce looking to the inside, trying to get a spot on Kid Dynamite himself as Joyce gets into Cummings once again and now makes the move into the north turn.
Joyce to the bottom of that one for the 4th, 5th spot goes Christian Joyce. Move Cummings back, but now we're all looking at the lead as Andy Avery slides through the infield grass here at Bowman Gray, coming to 5 laps on the board in this 20-lap race.
Kyler Staley continuing to hunt down Bryant Robertson. Good battle here a little bit further back with a lot. Of course, Brian Sykes Sr., Kid Dynamite still trapped on the outside, and now one car around in the middle of the infield. It's the K-Train, Kevin Gilbert, who is spun dead center of the back straightaway, and that will bring out our first NC811.org caution.
And there is Kevin Gilbert, who had him one heck of a season last year, and he's not starting this season in the way he would like to as Kevin Gilbert, but unbelievable, finishing 3rd in points last year for 2 consecutive seasons. Little bit of changes, some new sponsorship and stuff, but that gray car, do you notice it looks a little different at all? Do you notice, or do you think it's just the lights here?
A little bluer?
Yeah, it's a little brighter.
A little brighter, yeah.
Well, because he switched from Garrison Gray, for Gray Garrison, to Shuford Silver in honor of Austin Shuford, the general manager of Bowman Gray. He's a character. I love it. See that number 5 car on your screen? Well, you just saw him there, but oh, look at that shot. The flagman, Randy Smith, giving him 1 to go. What a great view down there by our great camera roving camera tonight. Gotta love that. But there is the 5 machine moving up from the stadium stocks. That is Connor Keaton.
It's interesting to see him pilot on a car that is not heavily based off a dirt late model.
But it still does have 450 sponsor decals on it.
This is true.
Who wouldn't want to sponsor Keaton? Okay, going back to green flag. 6 laps into the street stock race. Bryant Robertson takes them to green. Kyler Staley to the backside of his machine. Wes Glasgow in third, Emily Lewis, and then Christian Joyce rounds out the top 5.
Oh, Craig Hartless almost had a moment there, and Brad Lewis is going to get to the bottom a little bit further back, or at least tried to, and then Hartless sent it in deep again. But Craig Hartless is hanging on to that car further back here as they stack up in front. Christian Joyce has gotten to the inside of Bailey Lewis, and now Hartless finally is going to go around in the middle of turn 2. And that was NC811.org caution that was waiting in the wings for a few laps.
No yellow flag yet, although it just comes out. Hartless was spun there. Bryant Robertson, your leader. You just saw before that Christian Joyce getting by Emily Lewis, but then also Spencer Martin in the 57 got by. Let's take a quick break here on Flow Racing. We'll be back with the rest of the street stock race. Back here at Bowman Gray Stadium, and just in the nick of time. Gotta love timing here. 8 laps into the street stock 20 lapper on opening night. Green flag is out. Kyler Staley on the back bumper of Bryant Robertson heading into turn 1.
Kyler Staley now making the move. Got to the inside there of Robertson, but couldn't get the drive off the corner. Christian Joyce looking at the inside of Wes Glasgow. Is going to get into Wes Glasgow. Wes Glasgow is going to dirt track it through the corner and tried to save it and couldn't quite keep it on the pavement. And Bailey Lewis has gone around to Lewis's car, Glassow's car, sitting in the grass. And that brings us another NC811.org caution flag.
Wes Glasgow spinning, so is Emily Lewis in the 68, changing her number this year in tribute to Robbie Brewer. Staley putting on a show in second position, racing alongside the 72. Let's take a look at the Hudson Auto Works replay here live on Flow Racing and show you what transpired here. And yeah, a little bit of a tap, and he almost saved it right there, driving it through the grass, just getting back in the throttle there, and it turned the rear end around even more. Spencer Martin on the bottom there, and you see Emily Lewis spinning around from maybe the front bumper of the 5 car, possibly. But, you know, hey, lots of action here. 1 to go. We're going back to green quick. Hurry up offense. I like it.
The net result here is that Christian Joyce is now going to restart in the 3rd spot. I think that might be the noteworthy piece there. He had been trying to work over Wes Glasgow and gets the track position now. So, Bryant Robertson, Kyler Staley, Christian Joyce, top 3. Spencer Martin 4th, and Brad Lewis has worked his way up into the 5th spot. Jimmy Absher will pull the pace car off to the infield, and Bryant Robertson's going to have another opportunity to lead us to green again on lap 9. Off Robertson goes. What kind of drive does Staley get into the corner? A decent one. Not enough to get to the rear bumper, but there's pressure, and now there's contact between Spencer Martin and Brad Lewis. And yet again, NC811.org caution comes out.
TJ Whaley hard into the wall there. Did you see that there when Martin spun? I mean, he tried to squeak by on the outside, and he got into him. That 57, not too happy, spins it around. Spencer Martin, former 11-time winner here at Bowman Gray Stadium. Significant damage with the left front down on that machine. But TJ Whaley, he hit the wall hard. Let's see what happened here on our Hudson Auto Works replay, Pike. And you see right there, Lewis lifts up the rear tires of the 57, sending him around. Tire goes down. Now watch Whaley, the red, white, and blue car right here on the outside. Proud American on the back of the car. He almost made it by. Big contact, though, with the outside wall. TJ Whaley out of this race.
We'll take a break while they remove TJ Whaley's car from the racetrack, and we'll be back with more action from Bowman Gray.
Race fans, check your pockets, your jacket, shirt pocket. Ladies, check your purse if your husband's listening to the phone. We have a phone up here. If this is your phone, you can unlock it. Up here at the top. This is the phone. Everybody check it. Unlock it, whatever. Make sure you still got that cell phone, but we have one up here that's been turned in. You have to unlock it to claim it. Brian Robinson, he is your race leader, followed by the number 7,
Welcome back to coverage of the NASCAR Local Racing Series powered by O'Reilly Auto Parts from Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The 77th season of action kicking off. We are in the season opener for the QRC HVAC and Refrigeration Straight Stock Series. I'm James Pike. He's Matthew Dillner. We are on 18 laps, I believe.
10.
10 laps?
Halfway.
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 A little bit
Folks,
over.
if you're watching on Prime or Fubo tonight for the first time in the
Flow Racing 24/7
yeah. channel, welcome. This is the Madhouse.
And Brian Robertson just turned himself in front of the field, and we stay green flag racing for the moment, and Christian Joyce looks to the inside of Kyler Staley for the race lead.
Did not see that one coming on the restart. Wow, what a twist and turn of events. Now Kyler Staley is your leader, but he's got a mirror full of Christian Joyce.
You've got two heavy hitters in this division right behind Kyler Staley, and Brian Robertson is just ahead of all of this just as well. So this could get very entertaining very quickly. Meanwhile, further back, big moves for the 00 machine. The Moose Donnie Martin started to make his way through the field as Brian Sykes Sr. and Brad Lewis make contact.
Coming up to the lap traffic, Bryant Robertson slows down, slowing down in front of Staley. Staley now to the outside of Robertson in turn number 1 and turn number 2. The contact that just happened before it, will it result in anything? No. The yellow flag comes out. Robertson slowing down, showing his displeasure in front of the driver of the number 7, but the yellow is out in the turn, north turn. Emily Lewis, Justin Cummins, a bunch of drivers there, but obviously we were all keeping an eye on Robertson, who is not too happy.
Bryant Robertson was going to make Kyler Staley's life miserable if that stayed green. So that, I think, actually was a big blessing, as we'll take a look at our Hudson Auto Works replay and see how this shook out. Robertson was already loose there, just spun the tires on the restart and got finished off by Kyler Staley.
Staley tried to Staley, right there you could see when Robertson got sideways, Staley's car got sideways because he got on the binders trying to stop and not run into him. This is what happened right here with Curdell. The rookie competitor, the black number 98 car. First time in a full-size stock car is the go-kart dominator. And Staley is your leader. But like I said, I'd love to see that replay again. The number 1 is your leader, excuse me. But I'd like to see that replay again because Staley, you know, like I know Robertson's mad at him, but I think when he sees that replay, he's going to see when he got it jacked sideways, the 7 was on his bumper at that point, and you could see him try to stop, and it sent the rear end of that car sideways, trying to not get into him.
Well, the other piece of this is that if you spin the tires that much that you're already sideways coming on corner exit, it makes it difficult for anybody to check up behind you and not spin you out too. So
let's take a look at it here again on our Hudson Auto Works replay. I hope you guys see the same thing I'm seeing at home. See, he's sideways. Now watch the 7. He checks up right there. I don't know. I don't think that was anything intentional. He had nowhere to go.
I think the other sort of main point here is that if you don't want to get turned around, then make sure that you don't spin the tires on the restart too.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
and avoid that.
That's a tough one because I like to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
And I like to, when I think about these things, I often stop and I think to myself, what would I feel like happened if I was the driver in the 72? Well, if I'm the driver in the 72, I feel like I got sideways and then I got finished off. And that's fair for him to feel that way.
Right. One more look at this just so we can see what happened. This, from the top cam, we see the sideways sort of half spin.
Yeah,
and
he
then
tried to check up. Tried to check up. There was nowhere to go there. I think, hey, that happens. Here we go. We're coming back to the green flag here. 7 laps to go. Christian Joyce leads Staley, who's sideways off of turn number 4. Right behind him is Brad Lewis in that black and green number 16 machine. He looks to the bottom heading into the north turn. He has daylight. Staley fighting hard on the outside.
Kyler Staley with a big drive there off of turn 4 to maintain the second spot for the moment. The problem is that Staley's now working up the racetrack trying to find room. Brad Lewis got a great run on the bottom. This could be second place for Bad Brad, who goes to the inside and brings Brian Sykes Sr. with him, who makes contact with Staley in the middle of the corner. And all of this is happening half a straightaway behind our race leader, Christian Joyce.
Brian Sykes Sr. there getting the 3 spot. Now here comes Connor Keaton getting by Staley, move him into the 4 spot. Here comes the Moose. The Moose is on the loose. Can he get up there too? Oh, it's trouble for Staley on the outside. Not the preferred groove around Bowman Gray.
4 laps to go. Christian Joyce still ahead by about half a straightaway. Brad Lewis has closed that by maybe half a car length at best. But Christian Joyce just needs to execute plenty of daylight behind him. If he can complete these next 3.5 laps safely, he would have been on his way to Carolina Wood Floors victory lane, but we have a spin in the north turn to bring out an NC811.org caution flag once again.
That one was a shame. I actually had my eyes on the incident when it happened. Jaden Cordell in his first ever stock car race, driving Bad Brad's car, the number 98 there, basically just got plumb run over in the turn. I mean, run over. So tough go for his first ever race in a stock car, in a full-size stock car. The go-kart stand out, and he's got some skin hanging off right there.
Souvenir for somebody in the pits, I figure.
Yeah, he'll have to come in to the pits and get that taken off, unless he can scrub it off the wall there. No. Talking to this young driver today, his big goal today wasn't to go out there and set the world on fire. He was just getting used to what it's like to drive a big car, and said he just wants to go out there and complete the laps and finish the race. So seems like a kid with a lot of maturity. So great to see him out here testing the waters at one of the most difficult short tracks. Oh, Brian Sykes Sr.'s car has just blown up on the back straightaway in a plume of smoke. Kaboom.
That was big.
Third place competitor in the Bullies 25, owned by Cooper Lowe. That car will be a rental car for a lot of drivers to try their hand throughout the season. But Brian Sykes Sr., the veteran competitor right now, just goes up in smoke.
Big blow up. And the
checkered flag. Time limit has hit. Christian Joyce becomes your winner of the Street Stock 20 on opening night.
Christian Joyce wins after this QRC HVAC and Refrigeration Street Stock Series race hits the time limit on opening night.
Brad Lewis in second. Third position will be Kyler Staley. Fourth position, Connor Keaton. Fifth position, presumably, it looks like might be Brendan Brown or Moose Martin. We're not sure, but pulling into Carolina Wood Floors Victory Lane and taking the checkered flag around for a lap will be Christian Joyce. Here's a competitor that last year just struggled on the heels of 2 championships in a row in this division. Last year, Christian Joyce comes out with a new car, and before the July 4th break, he only had 2 top 5 finishes. Only visited Victory Lane once last year. An average finish in 14 races last year of 7th. That's not Christian Joyce.
No.
That's not the Christian Joyce that we learned about. And, well, this year, starting this season anew and starting it in Victory Lane.
Christian Joyce gets his 14th career win at the stadium in the Street Stock division, and that ties his car owner David Sumner for 13th place on the all-time Street Stock wins list. And as Christian Joyce pulls his car to Victory Lane, let's go downstairs to track PA announcer Randy Pulliam, who will interview our first Street Stock winner of the year.
Christian Joyce, ladies and gentlemen, picks up the win. Christian, I'm sorry we're under a time constraint. I know you want to thank some sponsors.
Yeah, I need to thank David Sumner Septic Service, SBW Renovations, A-Plus Auto Sales, Lone Legends, High Point Body and Paint, Hill Built It Creations, Davis Water Service, and mostly I got to thank Dylan Ward. Some people might like it, but we got this car rolling again, and we're going to be a problem again.
Congratulations. Christian Joyce going over to pick up some hardware.
Christian Joyce, the winner for the Street Stocks. We have a huge field of stadium stocks. Yes, mini stocks, buzz bombers, whatever you want to call them. They're set to entertain you next on Flow Racing. This might be the nightcap that you've all wanted.
Starting 23rd for the right, Joyce Plumbing, car number 03 is Grayson Lee, starting 22nd. In the Ever-Ready Mixed Concrete, car number 64 from East Bend is Ricky Wall, starting 21st. To the Honey Pot Baker Young Florist, car number 10 for Women is J.B. Lineberry, starting 20th. In the Farm Bureau for Side Team AKP Realty, car number 12 for Westville, Tyler Rose, rolling off 19th. From Knoxville, the New River Welding Rookie, car number 7, starting 18th to the Carolina Disco Junkies, Alpha Quality Drywall, car number 51 from Tobaccoville, rolling off 17th. At the Clifton Tomley, number 16 from Arcadia is Steven Sanders. Rolling off 16th. In the Bronze and Glory Mobile Studio, car number 71 from Knoxville is James Allison. Rolling off 15th. The Alpha Quality Drywall, car number 83 from Tobaccoville is Michael Kane. Rolling off 14th. In the Driver's Creation Custom, car number 60 from Boonville is Brad Michalowski. Rolling off 13th in the Bendy Strong, car number 44 from Marshall.
Next up is the Stadium Stock. Small but mighty, the Stadium Stock division packs a serious punch. 2,300cc four-cylinder motors at 2,300 pounds and varying horsepower, the intensity is always consistent. Fans have seen this division in action since the 1980s, and they always deliver high drama. The Stadium Stocks hit the asphalt next.
One of my favorite divisions now hits the track, 26 car strong. Let's give you the starting lineup real quick, and then we're going to revisit a credible plot point You see the 24 there. He is the epicenter. Let's start with your pole sitter. The 27 of Austin Cates in the Tysinger Lawn Care car. To the outside, a car affectionately known as Whisker Biscuit. It's the 02 of Fuzzy Dinkles.
Starting in third, the 22 machine out of Kernersville, North Carolina, racing for Komodo Japanese Restaurant. It's Peanut Baker, and the 66 of Tim Geeson will start in fourth.
Fifth will be the Van Oy Construction 2 of Carson Reed. To the outside, the defending champion, it's Brandon Lee Brendel in the 43.
Starting in seventh in the 80 machine out of Advance, North Carolina, racing for Triad 14 Inc. It's Luke Smith. And then starting in eighth, the 24 machine, the Grandmaster of the Stadium Stocks for Dean's Tree Service out of Moxville, North Carolina, A.J. Sanders.
Starting ninth will be the Racing Roofer. It's Billy Andrews. To the outside, the Little Donuts machine for Zach Taylor.
Starting in 11th, the 95, the S&P Lemonade car to Kernersville, North Carolina. It's Levi Holt. Starting in 12th, the 81 machine, the Little Donuts machine out of Lexington, North Carolina, Chuck Wall.
Starting 13th in the Dean's Tree Service 44, Blaze Sanders. To the outside, it's Brad Mikulowski in the 60.
Starting in 15th, the 83rd Outlaws Diesel Performance car out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It's Michael Cates. Starting in 16th, the 71 out of Moxville, North Carolina. For Moxford Tires, James Allison.
The number 16 starts in 17th. That's Stephen Sanders. To the outside, Disco Turkey. The number 51, it's Andrew Cates.
Starting in 19th, the 7 out of Moxville, North Carolina. For Yankee Concrete Finishing, it's Chris Allison. Tyler Rose starts in 20th.
21st position, J.B. Lineberry. Ricky Wall next. Grayson Lee. Christian Bowens. Jaden Andrews. Brandon Vaughn fill out the field. Folks, that was a mouthful. We're going green. 15 laps for the Q104.1 Stadium Stock Division at Bowman Gray. Their season starts now.
Good drive there for Austin Cates, who will clear by a good margin out to the front.
Fuzzy Dinkles with trouble on the outside. He got moved up, and now we've got trouble for Billy Andrews, who goes up in smoke. The Racing Roofer is slow on the front straightaway. His son getting by him, Jaden, celebrating his 17th birthday today. Andrews goes down to the bottom, and we've got a yellow flag.
And then in one car, that's Andrew Cates that spun around over in turn 4. So Austin in the lead. Andrew spun, stuck in the corner. The Disco Turkey himself a little bit turned around over in the north turn.
Oh boy, that was a crazy one right there. Carson Reed spins that car back around, the Van Oy Construction number 2 machine. And we talked about a plot point, and something that I definitely wanted to go on off of here is that 24 car and the 81 car of Chuck Wall. So that 24 is A.J. Sanders. We talked about him, the Grandmaster of this division. Well, we want to talk about double duty. A.J. Sanders and the car 2 behind him, the 81, the black car on the top of your screen, both raced today, practice. Then they towed over, got in separate cars, different cars, at Hickory Motor Speedway and ran the mini stock race there. They finished third. They finished fourth. Chuck Wall finished third in that race. You see it right here. A.J. Sanders was in a, you see Chuck Wall there in third position. A.J. Sanders was in a 32 machine at Hickory, but they raced there, okay? Then they got in their trucks, came back to Bowman Gray Stadium, and have joined the field tonight in 2 different race cars and are racing here tonight. You want to talk about talent. You look at Chuck Wall, often I think overlooked here with his 38 career wins at Bowman Gray Stadium. And I know you love talking about this as well as I do, the Grandmaster with 67 wins. But tonight they couldn't get it done at Hickory, but pulling a double duty feat, that is something that any race car driver dreams of doing.
Sort of the mini stock version of the Memorial Day 1100, I would say, right?
About as close as you can get to that, right? Because Hickory is only an hour down the road, pretty much on the nose, door to door.
Yeah.
So very easy to make that up. If you get an early race there and a late race here, it can work with the schedule.
And that's what happened. And, some of these competitors will go run at a place like Ace on a Friday night as well. So there's a lot of racetracks down here in the Southeast. Hickory is one of the great ones. set to be repaved later this year in the summer. Hickory Motor Speedway with incredible history here in motorsports in North Carolina. But, this place here is one of the most historic ovals in America here, since this place started running NASCAR in 1949, the first weekly racetrack that Bill France, the founder of NASCAR, ever promoted. But the racing history goes back here to the first year when this place opened. They ran some midget car races here, and then they took a hiatus for 10 years. They had a season of midget racing that Justin Mincy and I have kind of scrapped and kind of uncovered and unfurled in 1947 that led to a major plot point that developed and led to NASCAR being here, and NASCAR now being here for 78 years. Unbelievable.
Lights are off. Jimmy Absher will pull the pace car down into pit road.
Look who's in second, by the way. Last year's Rookie of the Year, Peanut Baker.
We'll see how Peanut gets along as Austin Cates leads us back to green flag here in the stadium stocks at Bowman Gray. And don't forget, there's a pretty strong driver in the 43 car that makes his move to the inside. Brandon Lee Brendel, defending champion of the division, trying to get in and find a spot under Peanut. Can't quite find it yet.
Luke Smith gets into the backside of him. They check up and they both save it behind them. Here comes A.J. Sanders. The two white cars on your screen right now finished 1-2 in points last year, and they're bumper to bumper in third and fourth position as the two black cars lead the way with Austin Cates and Peanut Baker. A stacked field of 26 cars here, and the Buzz Bombers are putting on a show tonight.
You look at the top 10 here, it's absolute just heavy hitter after heavy hitter after heavy hitter. Luke Smith looking to the inside there for a room underneath Brandon Brendel. Couldn't find it there. Brendel continuing to peek underneath Peanut Baker. You've got Levi Holt coming. You've got Chuck Wall making his way to the front too. Some of the best in stadium stock racing pacing the field to open up the year.
Austin Cates looking for his first win. His brother visited Victory Lane before him last year in an incredible family moment, but it got under his skin a little bit because he thought he was going to be the first brother to Victory Lane. Can it happen tonight? His brother, Andrew Cates, is slow in the north turn on the bottom. The battle ensues for second place. Peanut Baker hanging on in that kimono Japanese restaurant, 22, and here comes Scooter to the backside. The 43 gets into him. Peanut goes around. Chuck Wall's involved. Levi Holt's involved. Yellow flag is out. Last year's top rookie is in the grass.
One car just ran into Chuck Wall, the 16 machine.
Oh, Steven Sanders in that Mustang.
Just ran right into the back of Chuck Wall after he was stopped there on the back straightaway.
So Chuck Wall's hopes for coming from Hickory to Bowman Gray and getting maybe a win look like they could be erased. There is Levi Holt, that number 95, fan favorite for all the children here, Lightning McQueen, and a brand new race car for Levi Holt this year. And let's take a look at the Hudson Auto Works replay to see what happened right here. You see Brendan Brendel get into him and just hop tires right there. I mean, that's a racing incident, but hey, the car on the inside did drive up and hop over his tire. And then here you see Peanut spinning, doing a good job keeping it straight. And then Holt gets spun. There is Chuck Wall to the right of your screen, the black car. Now watch here.
Boom! Right there. Steven Sanders.
That'll get a radiator.
Hudson Auto Works replay showing everything that happened in that incident in pretty clear detail. And Steven Sanders' machine is stuck there on the back straightaway.
All right, let's take a quick break on Flow Racing. Steven Sanders gets a push to the pits. We'll be back. Welcome back to Flow Racing and the coverage of the opener at Bowman Gray Stadium. Got a lot of great events on flow racing, but here in particular at the Madhouse, Twin 25s for the Modifieds next week, as well as the Crown Vic Outlaw Super Series making their debut. That's going to be entertaining. Modified 100, demo derbies, sportsmen's, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, there's so much racing throughout the summer live on Flow Racing. If you're a Bowman Gray Stadium fan, I met a guy that drove up from New Jersey today with his daughter and another gentleman just to see the opener here, the Hayes Jewelers 200. They drove overnight last night to get here, do lunch, come to the stadium, enjoy it all. They're big Danny Bone fans. This is a bucket list track. I've met people from Michigan, from Canada. They make the trek here. They watch it on Flow Racing, and then they're like, I can't get enough. I've got to go.
Here's a look at the NASCAR schedule. The Whelen Modified Tour heads to Oxford Plains in Maine on the 2nd of May. It's a big night in May because you've got ARCA East and ARCA West for the ARCA Menard Series, running Nashville Fairgrounds on the east and Shasta out in Northern California on the west coast for a big ARCA night in America. The Whelen Modified Tour is back at Seekonk in Massachusetts on May 16th. Colorado National Speedway heads up and gives us ARCA West action on May 23rd, and then Riverhead Raceway, the home track of one Matthew Dildner. Are you ready? Play host to the Whelen Modified Tour May 30th.
Are you ready? I'll give you a little Riverhead, guys. Okay. I won't say Riverhead or the Blunderbuss Division or Radiator, but I will give you what Bob Finan used to say. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Riverhead Raceway. No cans or bottles are permitted into the raceway. Please bring all the things you think you'll need upon entering the track, because once you enter, you will not be permitted to leave and then re-enter the raceway. Riverhead Raceway will sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. God, I love it. That was a childhood memory.
I could see where the rest of that was going. Meanwhile, Chuck Wall is stuck over in turn 4, more damage than I think he initially anticipated, and so that's going to wave off the restart.
Yeah, looks like suspension damage on the left front of that car. Tie rod seems to be probably snapped right there, or possibly the upper.
It's something, but in either case, they're going to have to move that car some way, somehow.
Not good. So, hey, maybe we'll take a quick break. You know, I don't mind breaks here. They're going to have to bring the Daniel Davis towing rig out here. I love tow trucks, folks. You know, Rick Gibson is here. He's like the king of tow trucks up in New England here. He loves them, too. But, hey, as Squeaky and them get this car ready, let's take a quick break on Flow Racing. We'll be back with the finale of the opening night, because this is going to be a barn burner to the finish. Ka-chow! We're back here at Bowman Gray Stadium looking at Levi Holt's brand new race car. No longer the Mustang, the little Mustang that could, but a beautiful race car there with S&P Lemonade on the top of that machine. Loves entertaining the crowd. Great orange wheels on that car, too. The car behind it, that black and orange, 02. That's Fuzzy Dinkles. Fuzzy Dinkles driving a car affectionately known as Whisker Biscuit. Beautiful 02 car. Spent some time with he and his star pit crew member, his wife, down in the pits today. There's the Michael Cates machine, affectionately known as Frankenstein. Car patched together from about 4 different race cars to make this monster of a creation. 1 to go, says Matt Garrison in the makeshift flag stand tonight.
Saw the 71 and the 7 nose to tail, the Allisons.
Yeah, that's right. The Allisons, the father and son. Not the greatest night for Pintang tonight. But right now, 8 laps in, Austin Cates is your leader. Luke Smith will be second, scored second, because the number 43 of Brennan Brundle, of course, involved in that last incident, is behind the wall. A.J. Sanders, third. Fourth, and even though he spun before, is Carson Reed. Zach Taylor, the owner of Little Donuts, since he races, I don't think we're going to get donuts anymore. Brad Michalowski, the name that Jeff Bunton, who's announcing next week, can't pronounce, is behind him. Behind that is a blue car that I just absolutely love, and that is A.J. Sanders' son, Blaze Sanders, a beautiful machine behind them. So the lights are out on the pace car, and we're going back to green. You call it, buddy.
All right, let's get back to it. Jimmy Hampshire pulls the modern Chevrolet Pace vehicle into its place in the middle of the north turn. And Austin Cates will lead Luke Smith and A.J. Sanders and company back to green flag racing. And goodness, is Luke Smith all over the rear bumper, and he just sent Austin Cates up the racetrack to take over control of this race. And is A.J. Sanders going to follow suit to go to second? No, there's contact between the two of them. Cates goes sideways. It stacks up everybody. A.J. Sanders is stuck there. Carson Reed gets turned around. Sanders, his right front damage. Caution is out again.
Sanders spinning it around, trying to rejoin the field and hoping he can blend. But that car never stopped, although it was the caution cause. So it'll be interesting to see where he slots in there as the yellow flag came out. But chaos happening here at Bowman Gray Stadium, and it appears the time limit might be coming up. We'll see if we go one more restart or not. The checkered flag is in the hand of Matt Garrison, so we will see what happens here. Maybe one more attempt, I hope. I want to see one more. These fans want to see one more, but I think it's going to be a time limit.
We will see. Cleared 11:30 here on the Eastern Seaboard. Checkered flag is in hand, and Matt Garrison is going to go, I believe, make a special delivery to one driver here at Bowman Gray. And stopping in front of the field, it is indeed Luke Smith, who off the time limit is going to come away victorious. Luke Smith wins the season opener for the Q104.1 Stadium Stocks at Bowman Gray.
Trouble on the front stretch. Cates backs into A.J. Sanders. Steven Sanders is in front of him. Steven Sanders backs up. It's a family sandwich, and the Tysinger long hair is in the middle. Now, Austin Cates' dad gets involved. Dads, fathers, sons, wrecking here on the front stretch. The Madhouse goes mad. The crowd is going nuts. Sanders versus Cates. Sanders versus Cates. Backing over each other. Demolition Derby time. The Demo Derby might be 4 weeks from now, but right now it's happening. The police have entered the field. The 83 is up over the front of his son's car. Steven Sanders says, I've had enough. The officials stopping the competitors right now. The police have intervened. The scene has settled. Blaze Sanders brings his car. A.J. Sanders is out of his car. He's not happy. He comes around. Here comes Austin Cates out of his car. Austin Cates yelling over his car. The black machine. He is not happy with A.J. Sanders. The police are escorting Austin Cates off the racetrack right now.
So Cates getting the escort off the racetrack. Steven Sanders is driven away. A.J. Sanders is walking now right in the middle of the grass.
Yeah. Basically what we had there is those two competitors got together, Austin Cates and A.J. Sanders. Then when the race was over, Cates backed up into Sanders' car out of protest and not happy. When that happened, Steven Sanders, AJ's son, came in, and they got involved and sandwiched that car. The father of the car getting sandwiched came in and said, no, you're not doing that to my boy. So explosiveness. But, hey, 5th career win for Luke Smith. Viral moments happen here at Bowman Gray Stadium, but you see a very calm AJ Sanders going to congratulate the driver of the number 80. Here is what happened in our Hudson Auto Works replay. Kate's stuck on the outside. You see Sanders there get to the bottom. Oh, Kate's got loose and sideways. Now he's trying to hang on to it to try to save his race. Nothing AJ Sanders can do there.
They just got hooked together.
There is your winner. Let's go down to Randy Pulliam.
If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be right here right now. We finished up this body the other night, and Isaac Harris set this son of a gun up, and this thing is on rails. I mean, you could get in this thing and drive it. I'm telling you, I got to thank a lot of people. I got to thank Scooter, the whole Harris family for everything they do for me. Willie, Bailey, my girlfriend Carly, my dad, my uncle. I mean, man, they kicked their ass to get this race car here. I got to thank Kevin Bush. Without him, man, I couldn't do a lot. So if I'm forgetting somebody, I'm sorry, but heck yeah.
Congratulations. Win number 5.
Win number 5 on his Bowman Gray Stadium career. He's going to head on over to the Carolina Wick Awards winner's circle to pick up the winner's trophy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us tonight.
Explosiveness. Viral moments happen here at Bowman Gray Stadium, and they always happen for a reason. While WrestleMania happened tonight, we had our own WrestleMania here at Bowman Gray Stadium. This one is not scripted. There's heels, there's heroes, there's tension, there's drama. You see it every week here at Bowman Gray Stadium. You see great racing action. You see young superstars like Luke Smith muscle his way to a win. You see emotion and drama, and that's because you're racing in front of 16,000 people, and by darn, it matters.
A big thanks to all the people who helped make this broadcast happen this evening. Producer Lucas Kaler, our director Quentin Marquis, our replay operator Sarah Akins, our V1 Berkeley Dickens, our tech producer Mac Jackson, our field director Chuck Bush, our field lead Ryan Gabble, our cam ops Melanie Judd, Viv Sharma, and Elgin Trailer, our engineers Will Adams and Nick Stenstrom, and our senior producer Stephen DiLorenzo, and our coordinating producer Matt Stricker. We could not bring all of the action of the Madhouse to you without the many people behind the scenes that help make this broadcast possible. Yes, you hear our voices, but they are really the ones that help get us up on air each and every week.
Yes, indeed. That is for sure. So all the people behind the scenes, Justin Mincy, appreciate you too. But, hey, Luke Smith is your winner. And, of course, the big winners tonight, the biggest winner tonight, Tim Brown. 106 for Tim Brown. We have our winners for tonight of the first night in 2026. And they are, in the Brad's Golf Cars Modifieds, Tim Brown, winning the 200 is 106 win. Sportsman Nate Gregg coming up big, and that was a barn burner. And the Street Stocks put on a show after that.
Christian Joyce got the win in the Street Stocks, and then Luke Smith was able to bring it home in the Q104.1 Stadium Stocks. Matthew Donner, a wild night of action at Bowman Gray to start the campaign, and it only rolls on.
Hey, that's it here at the Madhouse. There's been a lot of action, and the fans that are leaving tonight are leaving happy here at the famed quarter mile. We had a lot tonight. We didn't have little donuts in the booth, but we sure did have some action. All night long, we had spins. We had a packed house here on opening night. Oh, the drivers of the Madhouse, including Tim Brown, John Holloman, almost got it done. Jumping for Joy is opening night. Folks, until next time, we'll see you at the races.